Stand up, New York Giant fans. What's going on, Baddog?
Happy Saturday, everybody. What's going on? Chris, how you doing? Hey, really. Knicks with a big W today.
Really. Knicks with a huge W today. Must-win game today. They got the win against OKC, and now we got two tough games coming up. We start with the Nets, but got some Giants news today as well. We don't know the contract details yet, but we're going to dive into that tonight. Obviously, Nate Solder. You got the Leonard Williams franchise tag. We haven't talked about that yet on the show. We'll dive into that, our thoughts on that, and whether or not the New York Giants may look to extend him. Maybe they look to trade him. Who knows? There's still possibilities that could come from that. $19.3 million is a lot towards this year's cap. Obviously, Dalvin Tomlinson still remains a free agent. And there's other rumors out there as well. There's a ton to talk about, Baddog, for once. So I'm excited to dive into it.
Getting into the fun time of the offseason right now, man. The free agents, we know who's out there now. We know that they tagged Leonard Williams. We know that they cut Zeitler. We know that they've restructured Solder. Like I said, we don't know the details, but we do know Solder's coming back. And now we're starting to get into it where, next week when we do this, we'll know who we sign in free agency, and then we'll focus on the draft.
Can't wait, man. Let's say hello to a couple people in the chat. Thank you to everybody for being here. The best supporters on YouTube. Caleb's in here. Matthew's in here. Rowan's in here. Double A. Entertainer the Sauce God. Waterfly. Colin Hughes. Thank you to everybody for being here. Jack Lawson, man. Thank you so much for being here. Rowan. John Larson says the silly season starts. Silly season started like 3 weeks ago. I don't know if you've been keeping up, but you've been seeing rumor after rumor after rumor after rumor. Jordan Renan, and nothing to do, no knock on Jordan Renan. It was like an ESPN like fantasy thing where the writers all picked who they would look to sign in free agency, and he said Bud Dupree, and then all of a sudden old Giants fans on Twitter going crazy, oh, are we going to get Bud Dupree? Nobody said that, so calm down. So it is silly season, make no mistake about it. But I want to start with Zeitler because you and me were both very outspoken towards wanting to bring Zeitler back. We wanted the New York Giants to restructure the contract if it was applicable, if it could happen, and we wanted the Giants to find a way to bring him back. Obviously, he was going against $14.5 million against the cap. Would save 12 if we cut him. We knew all along he was going to be the biggest cap savings in terms of a potential cut. So we knew it was always a possibility. And then you started to hear rumors about a week ago that they were looking to trade him, which made you think they're more than likely going to cut this guy because we're not going to be able to get anything for him, not because of his production, but because of his contract in the drop market. So I wanted to get your thoughts on Zeitler and what you think the New York Giants are going to look to do at that position.
Yeah, I mean, there was a lot they could do with the position. Again, Zeitler was just a cap casualty. It's definitely nothing he did wrong. I thought he was our most consistent lineman. I really liked Zeitler. I thought Zeitler was a big part of the line. We wanted that veteran leadership there. But yeah, I mean, the cap going back to 182.5 is what killed Zeitler. If it was a normal season where the cap went to 220 or wherever it was going to go, he'd be back. There's a lot of things the Giants could do here. I mean, they could definitely draft the center and move Nick Gates back over to right guard. They could do things like that. Maybe they move Will Hernandez to right guard, and maybe they move, Lemieux there. I mean, there's a lot of things that the Giants can do in that position. Maybe they draft the right guard. But, it's unfortunate that had to happen. I really liked Zeitler. I thought Zeitler was very good for this team. I thought he was, like I said, a veteran leader, definitely our most consistent lineman. And it just made the most sense. He's older. We're still kind of in the middle of a rebuild. We're strapped for cash. He saved $12 million. The Giants obviously going to look to put that money somewhere else. But it's a shame that Zeitler had to go because, like I said, I really like him. But we'll see what they do. There's a lot of options there, and we'll see which road they decide to go down.
Yeah, it's unfortunate with Zeitler. And Red Testament, thank you very much. What's up, Tana and Nick Dog? Thank you very much, man. I appreciate it. Yeah, it's unfortunate with Zeitler. It's something that I thought was definitely a possibility. And like you said, there's definitely options out there. But we talk about continuity all the time. Zeitler was our most consistent offensive lineman. He's a guy that the guys on this line are accustomed to playing with. And, we don't know. People could say, some people say, oh, they didn't even try to work out a restructure. We don't know. The Giants might have very well gone to Zeitler, and Zeitler might have said, I'm not willing to do this. And basically what I said in my video, before Giants fans flip out, which I knew they were going to, they're going to be upset, rightfully so. We always talk about trying to build up this offensive line. Now you're losing your most experienced offensive lineman. So I get it. I get the panic for sure. But before you flip out, you also have to take into account the environment. I mean, you look around the league right now. the Chiefs just cut both their tackles. There's tons of teams that have cut their guards. You look at Trey Turner from the Chargers. You look at Tooney from the Patriots. People are cutting players left and right to try to get under the budget. And yeah, it sucks, but it's something that most teams are going through right now. And it was something that was inevitable. And the good news, in my opinion, out of it is the fact that because the market's going to be flooded, I think you're going to be able to get a guard on this team with some experience, maybe not quite as good as Zeitler, but you're not going to have to pay him nearly as much, and you may be able to fill in some other holes on this roster. So that's like the silver lining that I take out of it. I hate that he's gone. I wanted to restructure him. In a perfect world, he would have been back, but you got to move on as a Giants fan. It was something that we always knew was a possibility.
Yeah, like I said, just a cap casualty, and obviously we're not the only team dealing with this. A lot of teams, you didn't expect that to go backwards. And when you plan for 2021, cap goes up 10% pretty much every year. You kind of expect that thing, and they all took a massive hit. There's very few teams that came into this season, going into 2021 with great cap situations. So, like you said, the fact that the market's flooded and the fact a lot of teams had to do what the Giants did lets you know that you can probably go that route if that's what they decide to do. Again, I personally, Nick Gates did a good job over there. So, me, I'm a big Creed Humphrey guy anyway. If the Giants could draft Creed Humphrey at center, I'd be all for it. But we'll see what happens. It does suck because, again, the offensive line is a big part of Daniel Jones' success, and they're very young still. So, obviously Gettleman has faith in who he drafted, and he feels like these guys are going in the right direction because I feel like if Gettleman didn't believe in his offensive line, they would have never made that cut. They would have had to just eat the money. So hopefully they improve. Andrew Thomas played a lot better going forward. Lemieux still got a lot of work to do. The guy was a fifth-round pick for a reason. And, of course, there's Matt Parrott. Again, he's got potential, but he's raw. So, Joe Judge and company, they're all about coaching these guys up. Let's hope that they coach these guys up. They're going to have a whole year. They're going to have a regular offseason this year. And, hopefully that gets them ready for the regular season. They can work on a lot of things, and they'll be ready to go.
Yeah, and I think, and John, I'll get to that in 1 second. I think that it's almost impossible to really judge anything that the Giants are doing right now until we see the entirety of the offseason play out, because this is not a traditional offseason. It is you're going to have more free agents than ever before. You have to see how the Giants judge the market. You have to see how they fill in the holes that they currently have on the team. So before fans start to jump the gun and start to panic, I understand where you're coming from, but let's give it the entirety of the offseason. Let's see what they do in free agency. Let's see what they then do in the draft. And don't just judge free agency off the first week. Like I've said multiple times, it's going to be flooded. That means that you're probably going to be able to get free agents later in the process like we did last year with Logan Ryan. So let's give it the offseason. Let's see how the New York Giants fill out this roster, and then we can kind of have our opinions on what they did for the entirety of this offseason. Right. But that's going to bring me to Leonard Williams. And before I get to him, I just want to say thank you, John, man, very much. Just Stella and stand up. You guys talk about how delusional Eagles fans are, and to be fair, Giants fans can be distorted as well after a 6-10 record, just saying.
Oh, well, I plan on talking more about Eagles fans in this stream, as I always do. You guys deserve to be talked about, John. I love you, buddy, but the Eagle fans are – listen, I was in Philly 500 stream earlier today real quick. I got guys in there telling me Jalen Hurts is better than Daniel Jones. What are you basing that on? Jalen Hurts completed 50 – somebody's like, oh, Daniel Jones a turnover machine. Jalen Hurts don't turn – number one, Jalen Hurts had a higher interception percentage than Daniel Jones. He also completed 52% of his passes. Tell me again how good – and that's with nobody having film on him. Tell me again how good Jalen Hurts is. Garbage.
Eagles should be drafting a quarterback. That's my opinion on Jalen Hurts. But
or they better be drafting Penei Sewell. Well, we're going to get Kyle Pitts. We got to get Devontae Smith. We got to get Jamar Chase. Please draft one of them. Please draft the wide receiver. Please do it. Please.
I want to jump into the Leonard Williams though, because a lot of Giants fans. I was surprised, to be honest with you, at how many Giants fans were upset. I'm not saying there was a good portion of Giants fans, at least in my comments, that were not happy that the Giants brought back Leonard Williams. And I get on the franchise tag, it's a lot of money, but I still think they're going to try to structure and work out a deal. But the way I looked at it, Baddog, and maybe you think differently, I'm curious to get your opinion, but the way I looked at it was no matter what Dave Gettleman did in that situation, the people that hate bringing back Leonard Williams, those people would have bashed Dave Gettleman if he didn't bring him back, because they would have said, oh, my God, Gettleman traded for this guy and then he didn't sign him. But then they're going to complain either way, because then when he signs him, they're like, oh, my God, Gettleman signed him for too much money. So no matter what the New York Giants did in that situation, people are going to complain about it. The fact of the matter is Leonard Williams fits the scheme well. He plays well with the players around him. He produced last year. You're trying to instill a culture. Well, a good way to instill a culture is rewarding guys that do things the right way and produce. Leonard Williams is still young. Gettleman showed the need to bring him in here. He thought he would help this defense, and he helped the defense. Now the only question that remains is how are you going to structure this contract and give him that extension to try to give us some wiggle room in free agency?
Yeah, I mean, you're frozen. I don't know if that's me that's seeing you frozen or your picture's frozen.
I don't look frozen on my on the phone. So.
Oh, there you go. Now I see you moving around.
Okay.
No, but it's funny because, like you just said, no matter people that hate Dave Gettleman are going to bash Dave Gettleman no matter what. The people that hate Dave Gettleman, no matter what Gettleman does, it'll never be right. Even if the Giants go 10-6 this year, they'll still bash Dave Gettleman. It doesn't matter what Gettleman does. Leonard Williams was going to be tagged. This was the move to make, no matter what, because, again, he did trade for him, but it's pretty obvious he wasn't just going to let him walk. In my opinion, they tagged him to sign him. I don't think they're going to let him play under the franchise tag this year, 19.3, and he's still grieving. He might get $21.4 million if they have to tag him as a defensive end. I mean, that's pretty much what he played for us. He played defensive tackle as a Jet, so he wasn't going to win it last year, but this year he very well could win that. But if the Giants can get a contract done, they're going to save more cap space. So I think they got to get that done. They got to get it done fast. But listen, I was talking to my brother-in-law today about this. Like he said, Leonard Williams is their best defensive tackle in the league. He had 11.5 sacks. You had to sign him. You have got to keep that guy here. People are going to say he gets overpaid. What else are you going to do? That's a big loss. The line. You can sit there and go, well, we signed Dalvin Tomlinson, and that's true. But Dalvin Tomlinson's not Leonard Williams. Leonard Williams is a damn good player. Leonard Williams is 26 years old. Leonard Williams is a top 6 pick in the draft for a reason. And I feel like Leonard Williams makes the players around him better. Now, some people will say the players around Leonard Williams makes Leonard Williams better. I guess that's what came first, the chicken or the egg. We're going to find out. To me, I think Leonard Williams is going to get a contract here. And I don't think the Giants can afford to let him walk in free agency because if they did, they weren't getting him back. So hopefully he decides that maybe he takes a little bit less to stay here. Like you said, he's a Patrick Graham guy, fits the system really well. That's why he flourished, in my opinion, because they figured out what to do with him. He had 11.5 sacks, guys. I think also he had like 30 pressures or 30 hits or so. He had a lot of hits.
I don't remember the numbers, but I know that he was triple anybody else in sacks. I think he was triple anybody else in pressures and like double anybody else in hits on our team. And he fits the scheme well, and that's going to bring me to DJ Smooth's I love DJ Smooth, but I laugh at comments like this. I'm sorry, DJ. He says Gettleman could just pay back. I love the Twitter GMs, Baddog. That's what I call them. Yeah, it's not Madden. It's not. You can't just. It's not fantasy football like Joe Judge and Dave Gettleman said. Who the hell knows if Shaq Barrett wants to come here? I love people who just assume, oh, he can just let him walk. And all you got to do is just call up Shaq Barrett. When 9 other teams are going to be trying to sign Shaq Barrett, just call up Shaq Barrett. You just get him in the Giants uniform. He'll play here, no problem. That's the way it works, man. I always say grass is not always greener on the other side. Shaq Barrett was never a realistic guy to come here. Why would he leave a team that he won a Super Bowl with that's trying to keep that together to join the New York Giants? Let's be real here, Baddog.
Right, and the other thing is this. I mean, people say, oh, Leonard Williams benefits from the defensive line. Shaq Barrett plays pretty good defense there. White's pretty damn good. JPP is pretty damn good too. Who's to say Shaq Barrett comes here and does anything? Shaq Barrett hasn't flourished his entire career either. I mean, he's had a couple good years, but it's not like this guy was a beast his entire career. So, yeah. And again, that's a guy that'd have to adjust to the system. They'd have to figure out a way to get him there. He'd have to learn continuity with his teammates. And Leonard Williams knows all this stuff. He's very familiar with what goes on here. He can play in New York, obviously. Some guys can't play in this market. Leonard Williams can. Leonard Williams was drafted by the Jets. He plays for the Giants. I mean, he's used to the New York media. Some guys really come here and they flounder. So, yeah, like you said, though, there's no. Why would Shaq Barrett want to come here? You
got to take off your Giants hat, and you got to think of it like from the player's point of view. And yeah, you could say that the Giants would offer the most money. One, we don't have the most money to offer. And other teams could match us easily. And there's going to be, if he ever hits the open market and doesn't resign with the Bucs, trust me, there's going to be 9 other teams that try to go after this guy. And then you have to ask yourself, are we the most attractive destination? My answer is no, if I'm being honest. Yeah. And Sticky Fingers, man, thank you very much, man. Cowboys fans, we win in the Super Bowl this year. Eagles fans, we are signing every free agent. Giants fans, we're going to cut, trade, and fire everybody. Which delusional fan base is worse? Cheers.
The Eagles. That's not close. Tips.
I think they're delusional in different ways, though, kind of like he said. I feel like Giants fans, and rightfully so, things have been really bad as of late. But everything that they do, no matter what, the sky's always falling. It's always the wrong decision. Eagles fans, they think they're going to get everybody under the sun. So I think each fan base has their own quirks to it. But in terms of being like, I guess, super like not realistic, yeah, Eagles fans for sure.
Yeah, the Eagles fans are a disaster. That's just like I said. Guy tried to tell me, "Oh, Jalen Hurts is better than Daniel Jones." What? Get me. They all think Jalen Hurts is going to be great. They don't. I'm sorry. The guy played 4 games. The guy completed 50% of his passes. It's not good. It's not good. The guy had 100 yards against Washington in 3 quarters. A couple interceptions. It's not good.
It's not very good.
They have no cap space. You know, that's the other thing they talk about. Oh, well, Henry Roseman's doing this. Yeah, he's throwing it up. Yep. Just delaying the inevitable. Some guy tried to tell me they have $80 million of cap space next year. I'm like, what are you looking at? He's knocking all these salaries into next year and beyond next year.
Well,
why they're in the situation they're in now?
I think people, when they hear the term restructure, they don't factor in what that's doing to the future. Eventually, you have to pay the piper. No matter how you want to do it, the Eagles could keep, and they have no choice but to backload this year because they're negative 90 in space. But when or whatever it was, negative 60 when the offseason started. But it's just going to mean they're going to have a bad cap situation going forward, and they're not going to be able to retain their players. That's what happens. John, man, thank you very much, man. I appreciate it. Baddog, so far, why are right about Danny Dimes? Hurts is more athletic. However, he was on pace of being worse than Carson Wentz. DJ has to progress also.
I don't think Hurts is more athletic than Daniel Jones at all.
Daniel Jones is pretty damn athletic.
I don't think that Hurts is more athletic than Jones at all. Daniel Jones is probably faster than Jalen Hurts.
If I remember correctly, didn't Jones have like the 2 of the 3 fastest runs by a quarterback last year?
Yeah, with Lamar Jackson and Kyler Murray. Listen, as a guy that watched Jalen Hurts all year at Oklahoma, okay, the year that he got drafted, I'm telling you, and I said this before the Eagles drafted him, I said Jalen Hurts is a back of the 3rd round talent. That's where he belongs. You drafted him way too early. The guy is not a 16-game drop back 35 to 40 times quarterback. He's not that guy. He will never be that guy. He's not good. I'm telling you right now. It has nothing to do with him being on Philadelphia. He's not a good quarterback. He's just not. He will not be an NFL quarterback. You better draft whoever's there. I mean, they're talking about Trey Lance. Draft Trey Lance. If you do think he is, if you do think that Hurts is your guy, you better draft Penei Sewell. You better protect him. That's what I'm saying. You keep talking about receivers. I pray to God that you draft one.
Yeah,
I really do.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. They should be rebuilding at this point. DJ Smooth says, look at the edge rushers, though, and wide receivers. Come on, he overpaid. He don't deserve it. He's not Watt. Well, first off, at this point in time, I think he's worth more than Watt, and not as a career. Watt's a better player, obviously, as a career, but Watt's injury prone. Watt's 32 years old. And Donald, and obviously Donald's on another level. But what I'll say to you is every year, not this year, but most years, the market goes up. And you're going to have to overpay based on prior contracts. That's just the way it works. If you're not willing to overpay certain players, you're never going to retain any of your players. Matt, look at the quarterback market. Anytime one of the quarterbacks hits the market, they're the highest paid quarterback. Dak Prescott. Is Dak Prescott a better quarterback than, say, I don't know, name a quarterback. Russell Wilson. Yeah. Is Dak Prescott a better quarterback than Russell Wilson? No. But Dak Prescott signed a contract 2 years later. Leonard Williams, based on this market, is worth what he got. It's just facts. You may not want to hear it as a Giants fan, but that's the way it works. And hopefully they work out a good extension where we're not paying them oodles and oodles of money, but that's the way it works.
Watt got $16 million a year. J.J. Watt, his first 5 years in the league, had 74.5 sacks. He got paid. He's had 26.5 sacks in the last 5 years, and 16 of them came in one season. And you want to talk about a guy that's hurt all the time? That guy's hurt all the time. That guy's washed.
Yeah.
Now, maybe he goes there on his own and he rejuvenates his career and he's healthy and maybe he has a good year there.
Yeah.
That wouldn't have made any sense. He's older. He's an older player. He's been in the league 10 years. Leonard Williams is 26 in the prime of his career. it made more sense to go Leonard Williams than J.J. Watt any day, in my opinion.
He later goes on to say that he meant T.J. Watt, but well, I didn't know. I thought he meant J.J. because J.J. was the free agent, but we'll get to that in 1 second. Taco, man, thank you very much, man. I thought the same as you. Galladay to the Giants, I feel it. We need that number 1 wide receiver. Let's talk about Galladay real quick. I'm sure we'll talk about him more throughout the stream. Obviously, we all know right now that the Giants need a wide receiver. Whether it's in the draft, whether it's in free agency, he's the best option that's going to be available because obviously the other ones got tagged. Allen Robinson got tagged. Godwin got tagged. Juju's available. I'm not a big fan of him. I think for an exterior threat, he's the best available option. The question is, how much is he going to cost? But yeah, let's talk about Galladay and let's talk about I think it kind of ties in with Solder too because Solder's restructure and the potential Leo extension is what's going to give us enough wiggle room to get him. Mm-hmm. And I do think the Giants will show interest. I'll say that if we are able to free up enough cap space because we did try to trade for him mid-season, or at least that was the report that came out from Jordan.
They asked about him, yes.
Yeah, they asked about him. I think he does fit the scheme very well. So I think there may be some interest there. But the thing I think about with him is the same thing I think about Shaq Barrett. Yeah, we could want him. We could try to get him. Doesn't mean it's going to happen. So I'm not going to – I think I am leaning we're not going to get him. I know Giants fans in here want me to say that I think we're going to get him. I'm leaning we won't get him because I think there's a lot of factors. We got to get under the cap before free agency starts in 2 days, the tampering period, whatever it may be, just to have an opportunity to throw something at this guy. And we'll see if we extend Leonard Williams and things like that. Do I think we'll try to throw an offer at him if we can? Yeah, I think we have interest in him. But ultimately, I do think we're going to attack that in the draft or get more of a mid-tier wide receiver, but we'll see.
Yeah, I mean, my whole thing is you got to at least make a run at the guy. If he comes here, great. If he doesn't, he doesn't. But I think the Giants have got to offer him money. On top of everything else, the guy's 6'4", and we don't have a tall receiver. I mean, that's why I'm so high on Kyle Pitts. I mean, none of these receivers we talk about. I know people fell in love with Rashad Bateman now because he ran a 4.39.
Did he really though?
I don't know. He's 6'2" anyway. Kyle Pitts is 6'6". This is why I'm in love with Kyle Pitts. We don't have a big target in the red zone. That's all I want. I want Daniel Jones to have that 6'4", 6'6" guy that can box out inside the 10-yard line, that you can throw into the corner, a little fade route in the corner of the end zone, and the guy can make the catch. I want a guy with good size in the red zone. Kenny Golladay, yeah, I know he was hurt last year, but Kenny Golladay had back-to-back 1,000-yard seasons in Detroit. He's 27 years old. He's the best available wide receiver out there. And if you want to know what Daniel Jones is going to be, you got to put the best team around him because after year 3, this is when you decide if you're going to give these guys a fifth-year option, which is why Gettleman is still kind of on Saquon Barkley, which is BS. I don't even know what he's talking about there. If you're going to give Engram a fifth, that's another thing they could do, Chris. And I'm not saying they're going to do this for money, but Evan Engram could be traded. No. That's going to wipe $6 million off the books there too. So
that's a possibility. I've heard people talk about potentially cutting that. They will not do. But right. If you could find a trade partner, that I could see in terms of trying to free up another $6 million. And we'll talk more about Galladay as the stream goes along. I'm sure we're going to get questions about him in free agency. DJ Swoop says, what about TJ Watt? That was about TJ Watt, not JJ Watt. Well, TJ Watt, like I was kind of saying, he hasn't signed yet. Believe me, TJ Watt is going to get a lot more than Leonard Williams did. Believe me. Trust me. TJ Watt's the best defensive player probably in football right now.
Yeah.
So he's going to get more than Leo got. Trust me.
Right. Leo's paid as a defensive tackle, not an end like TJ. So
yeah,
obviously, I mean, if the Giants could get TJ over Leonard Williams, I don't know who wouldn't do that.
Yeah, exactly. And Sarah, thank you so much for the 99-cent super sticker. I appreciate it. Lib Hunters says, I know you guys and Dave don't like restructuring, but the Eagles and Saints have been competitive for 5 years doing this. I'll take a couple of bad years to make a run and kick the can. Here's what I'm going to say, Lib Hunters. I am not against restructuring. I am not against kicking the can when the time is appropriate. The time has not been appropriate yet, in my opinion. The New York Giants are not situated to make a run at a Super Bowl, and the New York Giants still have their young players under contract. So if you think about this, Baddog, if we kick the can, first off, the Eagles and Saints had no choice but to kick the can because their cap situations were so poor that they had to do it this year. But if we kick the can to try to bring in a piece or two this year, which I understand helps this team, we kicked the can in 2016. So far that got us. But you have a team now, Baddog, with young players on this roster that you need to try to give extensions to in the future. And if you kick the can and backload salaries, it's going to make it that much harder to extend the Daniel Joneses of the world, to extend the Saquon Barkley's of the world. And I'm sure that's their plan right now. And, obviously that's going to depend on their performance, but they want to at least have that option to extend the Jabril Peppers of the world, the Dexter Lawrences of the world. So I don't think we're there yet where you could kick the can. Let this team develop a little bit more, then start to kick the can to go for a run.
I'll say this. The Eagles.
That's my opinion.
The Eagles were not good in 2016. They won it all in 2017, and they were terrible last year. They got 3 years. And to be honest with you, they won this week division with a 9-7 record a couple years ago. So no, the Eagles got a Super Bowl, but I don't think they were backloading contracts. Carson Wentz was still on his rookie deal in 2017 when they won the whole thing. So they've done a poor job. They had a good year in 2017. The Saints had Drew Brees and Alvin Kamara. I mean, it helps when you have a Drew Brees and you're drafting Alvin Kamara. Anytime you have a Drew Brees, you're going to be competitive for years to come. So it doesn't really matter what you do with the situation there. But like Chris says, we haven't needed to do this. We haven't had the players to do it with. I mean, who did you want to restructure? Who did you want to bring in here? And not only that, this year is different, okay, because of what happened with the cap. If we had a normal cap, you're not doing it again. But that's how the Eagles ended up in a really bad spot to begin with. Even before they set the cap backwards to 182.5, they were going to be in cap hell anyway. And like Chris says, eventually that's going to catch up to you. It's going to. And all you're doing is delaying the inevitable. The Eagles were 4-12. Why they continue to restructure contracts is kind of stupid. If you're 12-4, if you're like the Saints where you're competitive every year, okay, keep your players around. But I don't know. We haven't been good, so I don't know why you want to restructure and keep the guys around. We don't really have good players, which is kind of funny to me that we've been so bad, but everybody wants to keep all our players. Yeah. That's always been interesting to me, too. We got to keep this guy. We got to keep that guy. We got to keep this guy. We got to keep that guy. But we haven't been good. So why do you want to keep everybody here? Don't you want some new bodies in here?
Yeah, I just don't think we're at that point in time yet where we could start to backload to try to go for a run. A lot of people will say, yeah, you could point out instances where it may be successful, like the Bucs, but the Bucs had a really good young team to begin with. Just as many instances you could point out where it was successful, I could point out where it was not. The New York Jets tried to do it when they signed C.J. Mosley and Le'Veon Bell. The New York Jets tried to do it when they signed Brett Favre. We tried to do it when we spent a boatload in 2016. I could show you a number of teams that tried to cut steps before they should have, and it failed miserably, and it set you back 2 or 3 years, and you had to start all over. So I think it's a fine line. Like, yes, I think there is a time where you're going to eventually have to go for it. I don't think we're at that point yet.
Right.
And if you miscalculate, it could set you back drastically. It could be, and Pete, man, thank you very much, man. I see a number of media members mocking Galladay to us, but truthfully, this draft is deep with receivers, not pass rushers. I'd rather pursue Barrett or Dupree and get our receiver at 11. I understand it. We're not getting Barrett. I'm gonna tell you right now, we're not getting Barrett, Pete. But Dupree, I suppose is possible. Steelers aren't bringing him back, but with Dupree, he's coming off the injury, so you don't even know what player you're getting. I was telling Baddog before we started the live stream today, and I get it that New York Giants fans want a shiny toy. They want a fresh face. They want somebody with proven production, and we love Bud Dupree. We talked about him extensively last year. One Giant that had the same injury as Bud Dupree that Giants fans are ready to move away from, and they think he could be done due to the injury, is Lorenzo Carter. Lorenzo Carter is going to be back probably before the beginning of the season, but you don't know what type of player he's going to be. It's the same thing for Bud Dupree. Are you willing to commit that kind of money to a guy that you don't even know how he's going to respond to that injury? That's a serious injury. It's a risky signing. I don't think I would do it.
My biggest thing, like I said, you know what you're getting with Galladay. You don't know what you're getting with the receiver. Again, this is something Chris and I talked about. I think we did this off camera.
Yeah.
No receiver got picked in the top 11 last year, and it was a very deep receiver class. The first receiver went to the Raiders. It was Ruggs at 12. CeeDee Lamb went 17, probably the best receiver in the draft. Justin Jefferson went 22nd. He was the 5th receiver taken in the draft. So you don't know what you're getting with wide receivers in the draft. A lot of them fail. I told the guy today when I did the video, I'm like, you tell me one receiver that's balled out, that's been drafted in the top 11, and I'll give you 10 receivers that failed that were drafted in the top 11. So you don't know. Devontae Smith, Jalen Waddle, we can end up with one of them. They could be great. Mm-hmm. They could also be Corey Coleman. right? You don't know. At least you know what you're getting with Kenny Galladay. He's been in the league 4 years. You know what you're getting with him. There's no surprises there. You know he can play in the league. Obviously, he was hurt last year. That's obviously a question mark. You hope that he can stay healthy, but same thing can be said with Saquon Barkley, right? Same thing can be said with Daniel Jones. They've both been hurt the last 2 years too. So we'll see what happens. But you know what you're getting with Galladay. You don't know what you're getting with the receiver at 11. You just don't know.
Yeah,
and the Giants may not go receiver at 11 either.
And I go back to my point with Bud Dupree. You don't know what you're getting with him.
Right.
If you gave him a big contract, which I don't think anybody should, with that injury, you don't know what the hell you're going to get. You don't know what type of player he's going to be. You don't know if he's going to fit your scheme perfectly, even though I think he would if he's the same player. But that's a gamble. And that's a gamble that are you willing to throw big money at? DJ, man, thank you very much. Let's talk about how sorry Gettleman is, a loser. And you all think he's getting us playmakers. That's funny. Players won't come here because of Gettleman. Okay. And I understand why people don't like Dave Gettleman, and I don't want to get into a Gettleman talk all night. I get it. People hate Dave Gettleman. Those people are going to hate Dave Gettleman no matter what he does. Right. I get it. Okay? But, Baddog, if I'm not mistaken, is James Bradbury a good player?
He was pretty damn good last year.
Didn't Gettleman bring him in?
I'm pretty sure he did.
Is Martinez a good player?
He was pretty damn good last year.
Didn't he want to come here? He signed here, right?
Yeah, he signed here. What about Logan Ryan?
Is Logan Ryan a pretty good player?
Pretty good.
Oh, that he signed here, right?
Yeah.
So don't tell me that that we can't draw players here. It's a matter of, do we have the money to bring them in here? We might not be able to get the premier free agent, but like I always say, this is not the NBA. There's a lot of holes to fill. There's a 53-man roster. Mm-hmm. The Giants can improve their team big time if they do this properly and they bring in the right players to fill the right holes.
Yeah, I agree. It's not that easy to build a football team. Yeah. There's a lot of players in this team, and a lot of them are important. Every position is important on a 53-man roster. So it's a lot more difficult to do it than an NBA team, where you do only have 12 players or 13 players on your entire squad. So, again, we'll see what happens. But, yeah, like Chris said, I wouldn't say that nobody wants to come here. That's got nothing to do with Gettleman. That has to do with the team being bad. The team was bad before Gettleman got here. The team was in a terrible spot before Gettleman got here. You don't like Gettleman, I get it. You want to blame Gettleman for everything? Fine. But let's not forget the situation you took over. A bad team, an aging quarterback, no offensive line, backloaded contracts, over-the-hill players, strapped for cap space. What did Gettleman do? He did the best he could. He brought in Soldier, he was the best left tackle. He failed. Oh, well. What else is Gettleman supposed to do? I mean, leave Eric Flowers there? He was a disaster. We all know that. Gettleman didn't draft Eric Flowers. Gettleman did not draft Eli Apple. Gettleman did not draft Evan Ingram. Gettleman did not miss on all these first-round picks. Okay? Maybe he is. Maybe he's going to miss on Barkley. Maybe Barkley can't stay healthy. Maybe he missed on Daniel Jones. Maybe he missed on Andrew Thomas. We don't know that yet. We don't know.
Yeah, we don't.
We do know that Reese missed on a lot of players. And you can go past the first round. Reese, and he didn't hit anything after that.
Yeah.
Nothing. I guess Wayne Gallman was okay and Sterling Shepard was okay. Other than that, who the hell did he get later in the draft?
Dalvin Tomlinson, but
he was a second-round pick. So okay, but it's rare. It was rare.
Landon Collins, but even Collins wasn't great after 2 years, and
you know how I feel about him.
Roldy, man, thank you very much, man. He says, instead of you guys, the same fans who are upset that Williams was tagged are the same fans who would be complaining why we didn't tag him, which is BS. Why not talk about the real reason why he isn't worth it? So miss with that. Roldy, I see. It's a hypothetical, but that's honestly how I feel. And I'm not saying you as an individual, maybe you wouldn't have. But I do think fans that complained about the fact that we signed him, a lot of fans would have complained that we didn't sign him. And they would have said, how did the guy trade for him and then not bring him back? It makes the trade look horrible. So I think no matter what, fans were going to complain about that situation. I'm not saying all fans. And we don't know what the contract is yet. It's a placeholder. That's what the franchise tag is acting as. It's a placeholder. He is not going to play on that $19.3 million. I will guarantee you that, Roldy. I will guarantee you that. He is not going to play on the $19.3 million. He's either going to be traded or he's going to sign an extension. That's period on the story. And I think in the end, they're going to sign an extension. And let's see how they structure the contract. Let's see how they move around the money. And let's see it before we judge it. But that 19.3, I'm telling you right now, he's not going to play in the 19.3. He will not play in the franchise tag. And if he does, Roldy, is it the end of the world? It's a 1-year commitment. It's a 1-year commitment. So next year you could let him walk. It's much better. We say it all the time, Bad Dog. I would rather overpay, which in my opinion, $19 million for Leonard Williams probably isn't overpaying that much as fans may not want to hear that. But I would rather overpay on a 1-year contract than sign somebody to a 5-year extension for a couple of $1 million a year cheaper, because football is a short-lived game and it gives you more flexibility with your cap. So is it the end of the world if he plays out on the franchise tag? Is it really? Other than the fact that you don't get instant gratification and you can't sign Kenny Golladay? I don't really think it is.
No. Well, the other thing is, if he did walk, who do we replace him with? Then you just have another hole in the team.
Yeah.
Then you have another hole there. I mean, who do we bring in to replace Leonard Williams? You can't say Dalvin Tomlinson. Listen, I like Dalvin Tomlinson. He's not Leonard Williams. He's not close to Leonard Williams.
Yeah.
Leonard Williams is our best defensive player. And it wasn't close. Well, maybe Bradbury. Bradbury is great too. But Leonard Williams does a lot of things for that defensive line. And, again, I think the Giants had to make that move, like Chris said. I did the video about Leonard Williams. Said he's got to be tagged because if he hits free agency, it's over. This way, like Chris said, the Giants can make their decision now. He can play under the tag, which I don't think he'll do. They can trade him away and get some draft for him. That could happen. Or they extend it, or they work out a contract and they save money this year by giving him a contract. But either way, the Giants now decide what they do with Leonard Williams. It's not the opposite. It's not the opposite way around or the other way around. So
in my opinion, it was the only option. You couldn't let him hit the market, because if you let him hit the market, you're going to get nothing for him, and he's going to go and he's going to sign with somebody else. We know it as Giants fans. It only takes one team. We did it in 2016. We overpaid for 3 players. There would have been one team out there with a plethora of cap space that would have convinced themselves this is the type of player we need to put ourselves over the top, and somebody would have given him a 5-year, $120 million contract. It would have happened. And the Giants knew that, so they tagged him, and it gives them the bargaining power. So, Sox, man, thank you very much, man. I'm okay with a mid-tier wide receiver or tight end with Saquon healthy. You mean in terms of free agency? I don't think they'll sign a tight end. Jonnu Smith's the big name, but he's going to get paid. He'll get paid. He's probably the best tight end.
Another guy for tight end.
I don't see that, especially after they kept Toyolo. Unless they're trading Evan Ingram, I don't see them signing a tight end. But I do definitely see them potentially signing a mid-tier wide receiver. That's possible.
I would hate that. We just got rid of Golden Tate. Why would you bring in another Golden Tate here?
Yeah, I'm not saying it's necessarily what I would do, but I could see it definitely being a possibility.
I just wouldn't like that. Like I said, you're all or nothing. You go after Golladay, you say to hell with it. That's when you say we're going to draft wide receiver. I don't want to pay a guy like Emmanuel Sanders $11 million or Corey Davis, $11 million. I don't want to pay that. I don't want to pay Reuben Randall Jr. $12 million a year in Corey Davis, because that's what he is. Oh, he has a good game. That disappears for 3 games.
Yeah.
I don't want that.
So. No, I hear that. I think a lot of Giants fans share that sentiment with you. I'm going to get to you in a second, John. I got a couple here on the phone that I couldn't pull up here. Fix the O-line, man. Thank you very much, man. He says, would you extend Daniel Jones 4 years at $25 million per?
No.
Depends how he does this year. I wouldn't do it right now. Fix the O-line. But
he does well, you're not getting him for $25 million after this
That's
year.
the thing. That's the thing.
Yeah.
That's a good question, because it would be well into market value if he ends up being that quarterback and you're not really signing. But I'm gonna be honest, Fix the O-line. I don't think I could do it yet. He hasn't shown me enough. I can't make that commitment. I'm not saying that I'm out on Daniel Jones. I think he could be a good quarterback, but I need to see it first. I wouldn't be willing to give him a 4-year extension right now. I can't do it. The guy threw 11 touchdowns last year. But the other thing, even if you feel like, and I understand fans who feel like he has upside and with the right tools, he can get the job done. I understand it. He shows flashes. He hasn't been given the proper support system. I get that. One, do you have enough trust that we're going to be able to give him that support system? And two, over the first 2 years, the guy's already missed 2 games each season. So he's shown a pattern, and we'll see. Hopefully that doesn't continue, that he is prone to getting injured. So am I willing to give him a 4-year extension right now? No, I'm not.
He hasn't won any games yet either.
Yeah.
That's the other thing. So, yeah, after 2 years, he hasn't set the world on fire. He was up and down his rookie season, which you kind of expect. I say it all the time. Daniel Jones has the physical tools to succeed in this league. There's not a doubt in my mind. It's everything else in between his ears that scares me. He hasn't shown enough right now to make that 4-year deal. But like Chris said, if he has a good year this year, you're going to have to pay him more than that. That's just the risk you take.
That's the nature of the beast.
I don't want to commit to Daniel Jones for another 4 years on top of his rookie contract when he just hasn't proven that he's the guy yet.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. If you feel like if he has a good year and you could work out some kind of extension where you feel like you could get him on for under market value at the end of this year, yeah, you entertain that. But you need to start to see some growth this year before you start doing that, in my opinion. Mike, man, thank you very much, man. He says, "What's up, fellas? I got a feeling that we are gonna get a number 1 wide receiver in free agency." Listen, it's possible. I'm not gonna rule it out, but the only guy it could be, unless you view Curtis Samuel or Corey Davis as a number 1, is Kenny Golladay. That's really the only guy, or Juju maybe, but I don't think we're getting Juju. He's more of a slot guy.
I wouldn't want Juju anyway.
Yeah, I think it's Golladay or bust if you're of the mindset that we're getting a number 1, and it's possible. I'm not gonna lie. We showed interest in him, so, and I do think he fits the scheme, so it's possible. We're gonna have to wait and see, but we only got 2 days before the tampering period, and I continue to say it. If we do not extend Leonard Williams before then, I just don't see it. Because Leonard Williams' tag is going to eat up half of the potential cap space at $19.3 million. So I just don't see it unless we could give him an
extension. When the hell is the cap actually due? You know what I mean? Like, why can't they sign Golladay and then sign Leonard Williams and get under the cap?
Maybe there's a way. I don't know.
You know what I mean? Like, I don't really know how that works because we were over the cap until these moves. So I really don't know when that has to be set.
I'm almost positive by the start of the league year, you have to be under the cap.
Right. So why can't they get Golladay and then?
I mean, March 7th.
And if Leonard don't want to restructure, then you can move. You can trade him. I don't know when they have to. I guess I don't know when they have to be under the cap. That's the thing. I'm not sure how that works.
I think it's March 17th, but I'll do more research. Hi, man. Thank you very much. By the end of next season, do you guys think the defense or the offense will be better? I think the defense still needs more pieces to be elite, and typically offenses click faster. Great stream, guys. Hi, man. I really appreciate it, man. Thank you very much. And then I'm caught up here. So his question is, do you think the offense or the defense will be better by the end of next season? I'm going to go defense. I mean, defense last year was they were like the 9th best unit. The offense was 31st in the league. And granted, I think the offense is going to be better this year, Zahai. But
has to be, right? By default.
I'm going to put it this way, Zahai. If the offense is better than the defense this year, we're probably not going to have a great year. Because I don't think the offense is going to exceed league average, if I'm being completely honest. Maybe if all breaks right and Jones breaks out and Barkley's healthy, we're in the 12 to 13 range. But that would mean our defense falls to league average. And if our defense falls to league average, I don't think we're going to be as good as we want to be. Let's put it that way. I think but I don't think that'll be the case. I think our defense is going to be really good. I think they're going to build off of last year. So I'm going to say I think our defense is going to be better than the offense still.
Yeah, no, I think the defense with another year under Patrick Graham, I think that it'll be better. I just think that and they got Leonard Williams back. So, I think the defense continues to take a step forward and the offense just isn't ready yet. Hopefully the offense can improve a lot. Hopefully Saquon Barkley gives you 16 games. He shows that 2018 form. That would be the best case scenario for the New York Giants is that Barkley becomes the guy that he was his rookie season. That alone will make this offense mid-range. In my opinion, they can move him right up into the middle of the pack when you have a guy that can actually, get you some points. It'd be nice. So obviously, I mean, and again, defenses have to honor that a lot more than they would, even though Gallman did a nice job. They don't really have to honor Gallman the way you do a Saquon Barkley. He's not really the focus of an offense. Barkley will be the focus of the offense, and I think that helped Darius Slayton out his rookie season. And I think losing Barkley hurt Darius Slayton a little bit. So I think our offense really is going to revolve around Barkley. If Barkley comes back, the offense will be better. If Barkley doesn't come back right or he's hurt again, you're going to see the same offense, even with the number 1 wide receiver. I don't think it'll improve a little bit, but it won't be like it was. It won't be good enough. So a lot of this depends on what Saquon Barkley is in 2021. In my opinion.
I completely agree. I think the offense would have been much better than 31 had Barkley stayed healthy. So I think Barkley needs to be healthy and he needs to play like the Barkley we know he can be. John, man, thank you very much, man. I hate to say it, Baddog. You're absolutely right about Hurts. Hopefully he can prove you wrong. If the Giants get no top receivers, how far will the Giants go? I'll start. If the Giants – okay, here's what I'll say. If the top receiver – so you mean we don't improve our receiving core, essentially is what you're saying. Maybe we get a mid-tier guy and it's kind of like he replaces Golden Tate and maybe he's a slight improvement. What I'll say is we're not going to have a great offense then. I mean, we could still be probably a playoff team if our defense improves and takes a big step forward. Maybe we could be a fringe playoff team, but not much further than that. I mean, for us to be a real competitor next year, we need to get a true number one. And we need him to produce like a true number one. And we need this offense to take the next step forward. Do I think our defense could carry us if they improve, and our offense could definitely get better off of last year just based on familiarity, coming back in the same scheme, the offensive line playing together another year, getting Barkley back? Yes. But do I think he could take the step that we needed to take to be a true good football team without a number one wide receiver? No.
Yeah, I mean, to me, again, the Giants, for Daniel Jones, they need it.
Yeah.
I think that the Giants, again, I think with Saquon Barkley being healthy, I think the offense gets better. I think the Giants could still be a 500 team without a number one receiver. I think they could do enough with Darius Slayton and Sterling Shepard, and if they draft a receiver, as long as Barkley's healthy. But if Barkley's not healthy, even if they do get a receiver, they're going to be hurt because that running game is just not the same without him. So we'll see. But the Giants are going to get Daniel Jones a receiver. I don't think there's any doubt about this because Dave Gettleman is tied to Daniel Jones. If Daniel Jones fails, this is it. This is the year. This is the year for Barkley. This is the year for Jones. This is the year for Gettleman. Yep. If those three, if Jones and Barkley do not improve, they're not going to come back. Gettleman's going to be fired. It's just that's simple.
Yeah,
that's simple. Even if the Giants are better and they're 8-8, but Jones and Barkley no good, you still might see Gettleman out of here. So we'll see. But Giants need a number one receiver. There's not a doubt in my mind, and I think that they're going to get in. That doesn't mean I should say number one receiver, not wide receiver. You don't need a wide receiver. If Kyle Pitts is there at 11. If Kyle Pitts is there at 11, I don't think he's getting there. The Giants are going to take Kyle Pitts. I don't think there's a doubt in my mind that they would take Kyle Pitts, and then they can move Evan Ingram. That's the best case scenario, in my opinion.
We'll see. I mean, it's definitely possible.
And they can move Ingram out of there, and they can save another $6 million.
I am in agreement with you. Unless we get Golladay, I think we're taking a weapon in the first round, whether it's a wide receiver or whether it's Pitts. And then you hope that they develop into a number one. That's the hope. And Bobby, man, thank you very much. He says, hi, Chris and Baddog, my friends. Let's go, Giant. Everybody in the chat. Say hi to Bobby. Bobby, what's going on? Libs Hunters, man. Thank you very much, man. After the beginning of free agency, teams will be able to add talent for pennies on the dollar. Yeah, that's what I've been saying in my videos, man. And that's my honest belief. That's what I've thought for about a month. In this market, Baddog, I don't know if you play auction league, fantasy football. Or do you know about auction leagues?
I don't mess with fantasy football at all.
Okay, so basically what an auction league is, to dummy it down real quick, a standard fantasy league where you draft the snake draft that goes back and forth. An auction league, everybody gets a certain amount of money at the beginning. Everybody gets a $250 budget.
Oh, yes, I do know that. I actually played in one of those. I like those the best.
Yeah, and everybody spends crazy at the beginning. They get their Saquon Barkleys. They get their Christian McCaffreys. They spend their boatload of money at the beginning, and the teams that are smart wait until the end, and they end up getting guys for $1 that you would have thought would have went for 8 or 9 because there's nobody left to spend money.
I did that with baseball, not football.
With baseball,
I was in a National League only thing like 12 teams. We had a farm system too. So
yeah. But what I'm comparing it to is this year's free agency because I think there's going to be there's going to be an influx of free agents that there's going to be so many left over at the end. If you wait and you're patient, I think you're going to get bargains, much like an auction league in fantasy football.
Yep.
Yeah. Giants fan, man, thank you very much, man. I really appreciate it. Let me read this real quick so I don't lose it. Chicago, he says, I don't want Golladay, 58.2% percentage for his career is average. The Giants will overpay for a guy who gets injured and has an average catch percentage. So that's Chicago fans' mindset on it. And I know he doesn't have great separation. People have talked about that. It's fair. What I will say is he's definitely a big play threat. He's tall, and the guy averages what? I think he led the league in touchdowns 2 years ago with 11. But I understand people's reservations. Everybody has their own opinions. I don't tell people how to think. But I understand that he's not listen, it's what license plate guy came when he came on my channel yesterday, what he said. I think it was a perfect analogy. It's kind of like with Nate Solder. When you sign the guy, he's not worth what you're going to pay him. He's not. You're going to get B-level talent for an A-level price. Just like with Nate Solder, only we got a C or D-level talent. But we knew when we signed Solder, he was a good left tackle. That was the thought. But he wasn't going to be worth what we paid him. I think it'd be the same thing with Golladay. You're overpaying when you sign him, but it's a need. That's my opinion on it.
Yeah, but everybody talking about separation. To me, that's just overrated. Quarterback's supposed to – I say it all the time. The quarterback in the NFL needs to throw the receivers open. This is how it goes. Receivers aren't going to run down the middle of the field like you do in the Big 12. It's not going to happen. Yeah. It's not going to happen. And Golladay, when you're 6'4", you don't need a lot of separation. You can have a lot of back shoulder throws to a guy that's 6'4". Yeah. That's become a big thing in the NFL anyway, is a back shoulder throw. There's no separation on a back shoulder throw. That's all timing between a receiver and a quarterback. That's back shoulder throws are in. You can't stop that. You cannot stop that. But there's no separation on a back shoulder throw. He doesn't need to run, 5 yards ahead of the guy. It's a big red zone target. He had over 1,000 yards 2 years in a row. For a guy that doesn't get any separation to lead the league in touchdowns and have 2,000-yard seasons back to back, it's pretty damn good.
And he can go.
And it's better than anything else that's out there. It's better than Slayton. It's better than Shepard. I don't even know.
Oh, he's
better than Dante Pettis, right?
He's our best receiver if we get him. There's no doubt about it.
I agree. Like you just said, you're going to overpay. You're going to overpay everyone, every free agent at the beginning. And especially since he's the only number one receiver out there. It depends how many teams want his services too.
Yeah.
If somebody's going to have to overpay him, just like somebody would have overpaid Leonard Williams had to hit the market.
Yep.
It's the nature of the beast.
Again,
I understand people's reservations about it. He was injured. He's not. He's not. I'm trying to think of a really great number. He's not DeAndre Hopkins.
No.
He's not.
He's a borderline top 10. He's borderline top 10.
But you're not going to. These guys that are true top elite receivers, you're not going to have a chance at them. It just doesn't happen. So, that's just the best available option. Just like Nate Solder was a few years ago. It's just the best option that we have at this point. So, you got to overpay the guy. Sometimes you got to take a chance. You want to help out your young quarterback. That's the best way to do it, in my opinion, is get that guy in here.
I want to circle back to that because I was thinking of something as we were talking, but I want to get to these before I lose them. John, man, thank you very much. With your Giants fan, I'm going to get to you. I didn't forget, but I got to read these. With your reservations still with Danny Dimes and Barkley being injury-ridden, can you explain how the Giants will be better so everything has to go right? Well, yeah, I mean, listen, they have to stay healthy. If they get hurt, we're going to struggle. If Barkley gets hurt, we're going to struggle. I'm not going to paint a pretty picture. If Barkley gets hurt, the Giants are going to struggle. He's our best player. He's our best player. There's no doubt about it. So he's got to stay healthy. And this offensive line needs to mature and get better. But yeah, Barkley gets hurt. Just like any team, if your best player gets hurt, you're usually going to struggle. Barkley needs to stay healthy. And hopefully he can. John, but thank you very much, man, for the incredible generosity. DJ Smooth, man, thank you very much. He could have drafted different. Come on, guys. His record is on him. We need a young GM, not his old school mentality.
He doesn't have an old school mentality. How much is he address? How much did he address the secondary? That's a new school mentality. All the draft picks, the trades, everything he's done for the secondary, that is a new school mentality. That's secondary. He's drafted a ton and traded for Jabril Peppers. He drafted Xavier McKinney. Obviously, DeAndre Baker didn't work out. He went out and got Sam Beal. That didn't work out either. Did Ballantyne. There's a lot of guys that did not work out in the secondary, but he did everything he could to bring in the guys from the secondary. Julian Love is another one. Darnay Holmes. He has definitely addressed the secondary. That's new school thinking. Old school thinking, it still works. The trenches. Games are still
I don't care what the younger generation says. If you didn't watch the Super Bowl, DJ Smooth, you cannot tell me that the offensive line is not where games are won and lost. They have the best offense in football. They couldn't move the football. You need to be able to block. And if you want to call that old school mentality, well, that's just smart mentality. That's just smart mentality. His what I always say about Gettleman, you could definitely argue that he is not executed because this offensive line still has questions. And that is where you could definitely fault him in terms of his mentality, trying to build up the offensive line. That's what good teams do. Maybe he hasn't executed as well as I would like. I'll be the first to tell you that. But if you consider that old school mentality, I just think that's smart mentality. I think that's how you build football teams in the offensive line. Greg, man, thank you very much, man. I appreciate it. I'd rather draft an O-lineman in the first than a wide receiver in the second. What's your thought process on that?
Depends on who's there.
Yeah, we'll say Slater.
If Slater and Sewell are going, who are you going to take?
I'm saying Slater would have to be there. Sewell's not going to be there. Slater would have to be there to even entertain it.
I still don't. I think he addressed the offensive line a lot last year. I think you got to get a skill position. It has to be done. It has to be done for Daniel Jones. You got to go wide receiver. You don't know who's going to be there in the second round. That's the thing. I guess it would depend on what wide receivers are there too. If Smith, Waddle, and Jamar Chase are all gone, maybe. And it also is dependent on what you do in free agency. That's true too.
If you sign Galladay, I personally would not take a wide receiver in the first round. Which
is why I'm so high in Galladay, because I just believe that you're gonna have to overpay him, yes, but you're getting a number 1 receiver, and it just gives you so many options at number 11 where you don't have to just focus on that. Because I think without a Galladay here, you have to focus on receiver. You have got to get Daniel Jones weapons. All these guys saying Daniel Jones has no weapons, that's why he fails. Baddog, you're too hard on him. It's not his fault. He's got no weapons. But then I say, let's get Galladay. Like, I don't want Galladay. He's too much money. Well, I don't know what you guys want. I don't know.
Yeah.
To me, we have to know what Daniel Jones is after 2021. You can't have questions anymore. It can't be, well, maybe he would have been good, but he didn't have a number 1 receiver. We got to know. And if we have all that and he stinks, then, hey, the next quarterback's going to be set up. I don't know what else to say. I want Daniel Jones to succeed. If the Giants are going to win, we need him to succeed. More than anybody else in his team, Daniel Jones has to be the guy. More than anybody else. Oh. So, to me, the best way to do that, if you have to overpay for Galladay, you have to overpay for him. But you got to get Daniel Jones somebody that he can rely on. Somebody that's consistent.
Listen, you said it at the top, and it's why I'm not completely – I understand both the reservations and why you want to bring in Galladay. But you said it earlier. If you bring in Galladay, it's a clear gamble. You're paying for a guy that is B-level production for an A-level price. But you know who was another guy that was B-level production for an A-level price when we brought him in? Plaxico Burress. Yeah. Plaxico Burress was a borderline top 10 wide receiver when the New York Giants brought him in, and he was huge for the development of Eli Manning. So sometimes gambles pay off, and sometimes they don't.
Right.
Nate Solder didn't pay off. We understood the gamble. It didn't pay off.
Yeah,
sometimes they pay off and sometimes they don't. So I'd understand if they did it. He needs help. But I also understand why people are reluctant to do so.
I guess this is my question, though. Everybody's like, we can't pay him. What are we saving the money for?
Yeah. Yeah.
We have a lot of cap space next year. I don't know what we'd be saving the money for this year. I guess that's my biggest hang.
I think it depends on the salary. I think you don't want to kill next year's cap either. So you don't want to go.
I'm guessing he's going to get about $18 million a year.
He might get more than that because we'll see. But he's the biggest name out there at that position.
I don't know. I mean, how many teams that have all the cap space are going to go after him?
Jets could, Washington could, Colts could. There's teams. Lip, man, thank you very much, man. I say we should wait in free agency. Guys, I think I already read that. Guys will go for pennies on the dollar after beginning the run. Yeah, no, I completely agree with you on that, 100%. And let me get to this one now. Thank you guys so much for being here, though. I really appreciate it. Should give Baddog a quick shout-out. Always try to do that. You guys have kept me busy. Thank you guys so much for all the generosity. Everybody that's here, everybody that hit the thumb up, everybody that subscribed. But the most important thing you could do, go on over to Baddog Sports. I'm sure one of my mods could drop the link in the chat below. We do this show every week. We're going to be on his show recapping free agency next week when it fits our schedule. So should be a lot of fun. We'll get some answers, maybe. Giants may be patient, but at least we'll get some answers as to where some of these guys may be going next week, and we'll talk about it. So going over there, check them out. Thank you to everybody for being here. Giants fan, I'll get to you, and then we'll get to Pete. Would you rather the Giants try and get Malcolm Butler and or Kyle Van Noy and then go offense heavy in the draft, or try and fix the offense in free agency and then draft BPA? My personal mindset is I am of the thought process now because I don't think we're getting Galladay personally. I want to fill in the holes on the defense and then go heavy offense in the draft. That's where I've kind of been for a bit. I don't know if those are the players we'd be able to get, but my mindset is I want to guard that too. I'd like to get a guard in free agency or an interior offensive lineman. Otherwise, I'm going to have to spend the second-round pick on one. So you could go either way there, but we need to address an interior offensive lineman, whether it be in the second round of this year's draft or in free agency. A mid-tier guard. I'm not saying $15 million a year, $6-7 million guard, a guy that can hold the fort now that we're losing Kevin Zeitler. But I'd also like to get a corner. I think that there's a lot of corners out there on the open market, and I think you're going to be able to get one for a pretty fair price. So that's kind of what I'm looking at in free agency. I'd love Van Noy. I think he'd fit the defense very well, but I don't know what his market's going to be. But yeah, I'm definitely looking at a corner right now, Giants fan for sure, especially if we're not able to get a guy like Kenny Galladay.
Well, Malcolm Butler, Joe Judge has worked with him, so it would make perfect sense. I'm not a big Kyle Van Noy guy. I'd rather have Hassan Reddick myself.
No, that's fair. I like it too.
I'd much rather have Reddick than Van Noy. But yeah, and like Chris said, the chance of the Giants getting Galladay probably isn't great. It's a coin flip. I think it's a better chance than some people believe.
Yeah.
But I think like I said, I think the Giants have got to at least try.
I agree with that. Yeah, I agree with that.
But yeah, I mean, Malcolm Butler would certainly not be a bad option. But like I said, I'd much rather Reddick over Van Noy. That's just my opinion. But listen, whatever the Giants do, like I said, there's a lot of holes to be filled. So we'll figure it out. The only thing I'm saying is, again, I want Daniel Jones to succeed. I want the best players for Daniel Jones. You know what you're getting with Galladay. It allows you to go anywhere else. It allows you to go BPA at number 11, where if you don't get Galladay, you have to get a receiver. There's no doubt about it. You can't take a lineman at 11 if you don't have a receiver, in my opinion.
And there's no guarantees those receivers are going to get to you.
Exactly. So
yeah,
it'll be interesting. That's all I'm saying. This, like I said, it's a fun time of year. We'll know about free agency next year. We can start focusing on the draft. And before you know it, the draft will be here, and that's always a lot of fun. So we'll get to laugh at the Eagles again, Chris.
I can't wait.
I can't wait either.
Pete, man, thank you very much. Says, I don't understand why the cap went down in the first place. Why is it tied to revenue? These guys are billionaires. They have way more than $182 million in their coffers. The cap should just keep going up. Well, I mean, I understand where you're coming from. They're billionaires. I get that. And as fans, we think that way. But for them, it's a business. They lost a lot of money not having people at the stadiums last year. And that's why the cap consistently goes up. That's why player salaries go up, is because of the money that the NFL generates. When people go to the stadiums, the money that they make increases the cap. Players get paid more. This was a weird year. It's the first year in the history of the NFL since the salary cap era, 1994, that the cap went down. But it's obvious why it went down. It's because of the pandemic. Now, what I have said in the past that I think that they could have done personally was freeze the cap for another year. Freeze it in 2021, freeze it in 2022. So basically you keep it at 198 this year and you don't make the cap 210 the following year. You keep it at 198 another year to let the money catch up. And that way these players don't lose their jobs, or not as many players lose their jobs. So I thought that was an option they could have looked at. But, the NFL doesn't know the climate. I mean, it is a gamble. They don't know if fans are going to be able to go to the stands next year. For all we know, this virus could get out of control again and people won't be able to go to the stands again. So I understand why it dropped. It's unfortunate. It sucks. But much like last year when we were talking about how, everybody had to deal with it. Everybody's got to deal with this too. You're seeing tons of players cut. It's not just on our team. It's all over the league.
Yeah, I agree. Billionaires versus billionaires. It's always what it is. But like Chris said, the future is still uncertain. We don't know what's going on with this virus. I'm pretty sure that we don't have full capacity. I don't know any stadium that has full capacity going into this year. Anybody said they have full capacity? I haven't heard that. So they're going to have fans, but you might not have 80,000 people at MetLife Stadium. You might have 20,000. You might get a quarter of it, which means they're going to lose more revenue again. So we'll see. Most of the money comes from TV deals, though. Actually, I don't know how that works with the TV contracts because they really don't have their own channels like they do with baseball.
They just got a new TV contract that they said was going to be lucrative, but I don't remember the details of it. But they said that it's going to help next year's salary cap. But we'll see.
We'll see. Like you said, this isn't just the Giants. Every team is dealing with this. So
yeah, it's a challenge for everybody.
Just means you got to draft better. It's all it is.
Yeah, John, man, thank you very much. Why is it the Giants still so high on Butterfingers Ingram? How many seasons will it be he stays till they move on from? What are your guys' thoughts? I think you made a video on that, maybe, but I'll let you talk about that real quick.
John, I can't stand Evan Ingram. I don't know what else to say. The guy's had 4 years in the league. He can't get it together. He sucks. I want Kyle Pitts. I want Kyle Pitts. I want Ingram gone. I want Ingram out of here. Save the $6 million. Put it somewhere else. Anybody's going to be more productive with that $6 million than Evan Ingram. I would take my chances with Toy Lolo and Caden Smith and dump. I'm done. I've lost it with Evan Ingram. The guy, not only does he drop passes, he drops them at the most inopportune times. He turned the ball over inside of 20 on how many damn times? And not only does he drop passes, he doesn't just drop passes. When he does it, it's epic, like the game against the Eagles, or he likes to bat the ball up in the air so it gets picked off. Like half of Daniel Jones' interceptions were Evan Ingram targets.
No, he was a disaster.
I don't like him. I mean, that's putting it nice.
The only reasonable explanation I could give, I think they're trying to show confidence in their player. I think they're trying to show confidence in their player, and I think that's what a good coach does. As much as we may hate Evan Ingram, I think that's what a good coach does. He's backing up his player. But if they have any brains, I don't think they're super high on Ingram. I don't expect Ingram to be here.
Say they're not though.
Yeah, they can't. I don't think Ingram will be here past this year. I think I don't think they're gonna trade him this year, but I think this will be his last year in a New York Giants uniform.
Why they should trade him? You're gonna
if you could get a
compensatory pick, well,
yeah, if you could get something. Yeah, if you get something. I'm going to get back to your guys. I don't want to lose the ones on the phone, but Roldy, Yuri, rest assured I'm going to get to yours. Sway Sports, man, thank you very much. Do you think Jamar Chase is fooling to us? Is it realistic? Listen, it's the draft. Anything's possible. The only reasoning I can see as to why is maybe teams are scared of, maybe he has a bad pro day. Obviously, he didn't play this year. Do I think it's likely? No. Would I be excited that it's a possibility? No, don't get your hopes up. This guy was labeled one of the top 3 prospects in this draft class before he sat out this year due to COVID. So I think he's far and away the best receiver. I don't think he'll be there. Is it possible, though? Yeah, I would have told you there's no way CeeDee Lamb's getting to the Cowboys last year, and he did. So, a lot of people thought CeeDee Lamb was the best receiver. So you don't know. It's a matter of what teams' preferences are. And a lot of different receivers, there's different types of receivers. So I think you got to do your research. You got to look at the teams that are looking for receivers and what type of wide receivers may fit their offense. But do I think Jamar Chase is going to be there? No, I do not.
I could see him going to Miami at 3.
Yeah.
I see one of those guys going to Miami that early.
Yeah.
I really could. I could see him going to the Eagles at 6. I think Cincinnati should take Penei Sewell, personally. I think that Cincinnati needs that guy. You got Joe Burrow. The guy's a rookie. You spent your first pick in the draft on him. He tore his ACL already. You got to build up his line because there's talk about Burrow going there. Jamar Chase going there for obvious reasons. And maybe that'd be nice just to reunite those guys again, but you got to protect Burrow. I don't think Jamar Chase is getting past the Eagles at 6. I'd be surprised if he gets out of the top 6. But like Chris said, anything can happen. I thought CeeDee Lamb would be the first guy on the board. I definitely think CeeDee Lamb would fall to 17. And then I was surprised that the Cowboys took him at 17, to be honest. I started getting worried that he was going to fall to the Eagles at 21 last year, wherever the hell they picked. Didn't happen. But I thought CeeDee Lamb was the best. I still go by that. I still think he was the best receiver in last year's class. But you never know. Well, that was a very good receiver class last year, and the first one went at number 12.
Yeah.
It is possible.
You don't know. It's the draft.
Possible, not probable.
Crazy things happen. Daniel Jones went 6. Calais Farrell went 4. Crazy things happen. You don't know. Danny Thomas, man, thank you very much. How about we trade for N'Keal Harry? Yeah, I talked about that in one of my videos. Wasn't the main topic. I talked more so about Solder, but I talked about that as a possibility. Obviously, he has ties to Joe Judge. There's rumors that teams have been interested in N'Keal Harry. They've contacted the Patriots. We talk about total threats. He's 6'4". Judge in the past has expressed that he likes the guy. He was part of the drafting process of bringing him into New England. That's the obvious connection there. Listen, if it was for pennies, why not? I mean, he's a former first-round pick. He's a guy that people thought had upside. Maybe New England's done with him. Maybe he needs a fresh start. We talk about that with Ingram. If you could get him for a future 5th-round pick, why not?
Give Evan Ingram, then we'll take N'Keal Harry.
Sign me up.
Do it right now.
Yeah.
Do it right now. Let's go. I'm in.
And again,
I don't want to go draft capital. Give him Evan Ingram. Get him out of here.
And like I said in my video when I talked about N'Keal Harry, by no means am I telling you he would be our number 1 option. But a guy with upside that could be at a bare minimum a depth wide receiver that you pay nothing. He's only due, I think, $3 million over the next 2 years combined when you factored in the signing bonus that's already been paid to him. So, yeah, I think for the right price, if you get him for next to nothing, I would look into bringing him in. But I think other teams would be interested in him as well. DJ Smooth says, it's a passing league, guys. He needs to stack the deck. I think I'm assuming you mean that you think that they need to go out and get multiple weapons. I think that's what he's trying to get at. And I understand where he's coming from with that. My mentality is there's a lot more holes on this team. It's not just wide receiver. If you go out and you get a number 1, if you spend the 11th overall pick on a wide receiver, or if you spend $20 million a year on a wide receiver with Kenny Galladay's job as a number 1 bad dog is to make the other receivers better.
Yep.
Sterling Shepard is more than capable of being a upper echelon slot wide receiver. If you get Galladay in here, a healthy Saquon Barkley, and Slayton should be capable of being a number 2. So my mentality with that is, sure, you could draft another wide receiver later in the draft, 4th round, whatever it may be, but there's other holes we need to plug on this team. And if you're going to dedicate more than 10% of your cap to Kenny Galladay, or if you're going to dedicate the 11th overall pick to a wide receiver, I'm not doubling up. I'm filling the other holes on my team. I'm going to get that offensive lineman. I'm going to get that cornerback. I'm going to get that edge rusher. I'm going to get, depth on the offensive line. I'm going to get a coverage linebacker. There's other needs this team has. And if you sign Kenny Galladay for that amount of money, it is his job. to make that offense flow.
And you know what? I think he would, but I think Saquon Barkley makes them all better.
Yeah.
Again, no matter Galladay, no Galladay, Devontae Smith, Kyle Pitts, no matter who they do, no matter what they get, or no matter who they get, no matter what they do, healthy Saquon Barkley is going to make them all better. And that's what's going to revolve around the Giants. That's going to make them all better. But if you get a healthy Saquon Barkley and you add a Kenny Galladay, it could be very dangerous. That could be a very dangerous combination. And
can't stack the box.
Daniel Jones a lot. So that's, and then of course you get Kenny Galladay and then you draft Kyle Pitts and then, oh, look out. So that's my dream scenario, man. You get Galladay in here, you draft Kyle Pitts. Holy shit, what do you got there? You might have a good offense.
You got fireworks. Zahai, man, thank you very much. I like both. But who do you guys think will be a better player? And don't think I forgot about you again, Roldy Yuri. I'm going to get to you. I just don't want to lose these. I like both, but who do you guys think will be a better player at slot cornerback, Love or Holmes, over the next few years?
Holmes.
I think it's hard to identify yet. I would lean Holmes. I liked Holmes. I liked the way he looked last year. I don't think he surrendered a touchdown last year, if I'm not mistaken, which was crazy. I think he had the best number in that attribute or something for rookie cornerbacks last year. And Holmes definitely got better over the progression of the year. He's a really smart guy, and he's obviously a guy that has Joe Judge roots. He's a guy that Judge was a part of the process. And you have to figure at some point in the future, Gettleman's going to be replaced. For God's sakes, we just brought in the guy from the Detroit Lions to kind of be Gettleman's assistant, who I think, I was talking to Clapback Sports, the guys I do the Met show with, they brought up a great point. I think he's going to be the guy that takes over for Gettleman. He's got ties to Judge. I think that's going to be the guy that eventually steps in for Gettleman and is the new GM. But I think the fact that Holmes has ties to Judge, I think there's and it didn't seem like last year until the end of the season that the Giants were enamored with Love. He didn't even get a lot of playing time. If you remember, there were multiple games where he wasn't even getting on the field that much. So I would lean Holmes. I think they were both drafted to be potential slots, but I'd lean Holmes. I think Holmes might have the higher upside at this point for this team.
I think Holmes is a better slot corner in college. I mean, that's what he played. That's his natural position.
He played on the outside in college.
I don't really know what Love's. I don't really know what he's kind of he's like a hybrid type of thing. I just think Holmes is the best option there. I think he'll be the better slot corner.
Yeah, and I think Love maybe, it's possible if they like Love as much as I love Jabril Peppers and I want to keep Peppers. It's possible they may let him go and they may let Love take over that that position in the future. I hope not. I think Peppers fits the defense perfectly, but I do think Darnay Holmes will be more of the slot. Tudo, man, thank you very much, man. Salute, Paisanos, Tana and Baddog. How you doing, fellas? Just dropped by in to pay my respect, fellas. Appreciate you for being here, Tudo.
Always. Paisano, yeah.
And Pistol Pete says, sign wide receiver 1, draft O-lineman, too many holes in my opinion.
A lot of holes.
Man, if you sign a wide receiver, I am completely on board with drafting an O-lineman if the right one's there at number 11. So I definitely see where you're going with that. Our offensive line was not good last year. Got better, but it was not good for the totality of the year. Bano, man, thank you very much. I want another offensive lineman at 11. A lot of people getting the offensive lineman train all of a sudden. And I've seen that on Twitter as well. A lot of people are buying into the offensive line hype at number 11. And it's definitely a possibility, especially if we sign a guy like Samuel, I wouldn't be shocked if we draft an offensive lineman at 11 and take a wide receiver in the second. I wouldn't be shocked if the right guy was there.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, there's a reason the Giants were 6-10 last year. There's a reason they were 5-11 the year before, 4-12 or 3-13. There's a reason that they've been 3-13, 6-10, 5-11, 6-10. There's a reason that they're bad. It's because they have a lot of positions that they need help in. So they go offensive line, fine. They go wide receiver, fine. They go tight end, fine. They go
get it right.
Fine. They go linebacker, fine. They go defensive end, fine. I don't care.
Get the pick right. That's
right.
That's the bottom line. But and right now I'll catch up with these. Roldy, man, thank you very much. Since you guys think Williams is worth that money, I want to reiterate that I don't think he's worth the money, but I think because the market goes up, he is. But if you base it off of prior contracts, he's not, but I'll keep reading. Give me the total amount of sacks and pressures that Williams needs to give for you to feel that he's worth it. And don't give me beat. Yeah. He needs I mean, I don't know. He needs to produce like last year. I'm not going to say he needs the exact stats. He doesn't need he needs to be a huge impact player. He either needs to be I'm not a numbers guy. if Leonard Williams is a big part of a very good defense, he may not get the sacks. He may create pressures that get other players sacks. But if the Giants feel like he's an instrumental part of this defense that's going to create pressure and help the Giants create sacks, so I don't want to give you numbers because Leonard Williams may get 6 or 7 sacks, but he may have an even better year because by him getting interior pressure, maybe he'll have a different role. By losing a guy like Dalvin Tomlinson, potentially, it may lead to sacks on the outside. So it's very hard to measure with numbers. It just is, Roldy. But if they feel by bringing back Leonard Williams, overall, we're going to have a top 5 defense. That, to me, that's what's more important, Bad Dog. I don't care about the sack numbers. If we have a top 5 defense next year, Leonard Williams was worth it.
I say it all the time, man. Statistics are for fantasy football and losers.
Yeah.
I don't care about numbers. I care about wins. If Leonard Williams helps his team win, that's all I care about. Then he's worth the money. Yeah. You know, that's what it is. Somebody was talking about how Wentz got overpaid or whatever. It didn't really matter. Wentz helped them win a Super Bowl. It's always worth it. Oh, no, I'm sorry. It was Anthony Davis. Somebody was talking about did the Lakers lose the Anthony Davis trade. I said, absolutely not. The Lakers won a championship. They won the trade. That's all that ever matters.
Yeah.
You get a championship. They got a championship out of Wentz. Wentz was worth it. No matter what Wentz did, no matter if Wentz was there, Wentz was not there, if Wentz stayed there and sucked the rest of his career, it would not matter because they won a Super Bowl. That was the right draft pick. Even though I know he didn't technically win the Super Bowl, they would have never made it without him. So it does not matter. You win a Super Bowl. You can't overpay somebody if you win a Super Bowl. The whole point of playing this game or any game is to win a championship. So whatever it takes. You want to overpay these guys, they win a championship, and they suck for the next 5 years. Oh, well, you got your championship. It is what it is.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm with you. And we're going to get the Demon, man. I can't pull it up on here, Demon, because it's falling behind here, but I want to say thank you so much, man, for the incredible generosity. $50 super chat. Thank you so much. He says, yo, fellers, back from my travels abroad just in time for free agency. Sorry for trolling the Discord the other night. I didn't even know that you did. He says, what's up, Bad Dog? Get through the free agency, then complain about the draft. In my opinion, first and second depend on free agency. Creed Humphrey in the third. Give me the hog.
I'm all about that. If Creed Humphrey ever fell in the third, I mean, I've been touting Creed Humphrey since he was a freshman in Oklahoma, so I'm all about Creed Humphrey. I'm all about it. I mean, we were talking about centers last year, Tyler Biadasz and Cesar Ruiz. So
Cowboys jumped us. I want to be out of
right. So if Creed Humphrey's there in the third round, that's a no-brainer.
Yeah,
that's a no-brainer.
Yeah, no, I'm with you, man. I just want to read that again just so I could see everything that he said, just so I could pick up on it again. Get through the free agency, then complain about the draft. Well, yeah, no, it's common sense, Damon. I say it all the time. Free agency is going to set you up for the draft. That's why I don't do mock drafts right now. Traditionally, I'll do one before free agency, which I did, and then I wait. I mean, I'll do one after the combine. We didn't have that this year, but we don't. You're throwing darts at the board anyway, but you don't really know the team's needs until after free agency. You use free agency to set yourself up for the draft. And we're going to find out what the Giants draft plan is based on free agency. I think last year it was obvious after we didn't go out and sign Conklin that we were probably taking a tackle. This year, if we don't sign a wide receiver, we're probably taking a wide receiver. And we'll see what happens, man. But Demon, man, thank you so much. Or Kyle Pitts.
Let's go, Kyle Pitts.
And Yuri says DJ needs to bowl out next year. Draft is the worst quarterback. Here's what I'll say about that. And first off, yeah, DJ needs to bowl out. You don't know where we're going to be in a position to draft the quarterback. But what I'll say is it's very hard to evaluate next year's quarterback class right now. And we say it all the time. Baker Mayfield was not near a top-tier quarterback prospect at this point in time going into his season with Oklahoma. So many Joe Burrow, same thing. You don't know who's going to shine and who's going to be viewed as a better quarterback prospect going into next year's draft class. So don't even read the mocks right now. Don't even bother. I mean, at this point, a couple of years ago, what was the quarterback's name from Georgia that's the backup on the Bills right now that everybody loved? Yeah, Fromm. Jake Fromm was never good.
Fromm was never good.
He was never that good, but a lot of people, if you looked at mocks the year before, thought he was a top 15 pick.
Yeah, so they didn't know how they were doing. All you got to do is ask Uncle Lou about that. You need a Georgia player, go to Uncle Lou. I tell you, he never liked Jake Fromm, as he calls him.
But my point is, you just don't know, man. You don't know what that quarterback class is going to look like in a year from now. And Cruzon says, is Bateman we're taking at the 11th pick? He is getting a lot of shine, Bad Dog, after that pro day.
Not my opinion, he's not.
He's getting a lot of shine. And what I'm going to say is, I think, and maybe he is, maybe he isn't. We'll see how the Giants feel about him. If they love him, they love him. But what I'll say, Cruzon, is I think he's getting a lot of shine because he was one of the earlier pro days. It's a dead time in the NFL offseason. Yeah. He went out there. He ran a surprising 40 time, which may have been pro day induced. Like at the combine, I don't think he's running a 4.39.
No.
You know, and I think it was fabricated. He's probably more in the mid 4.4s, high 4.4s, and I think that upped his stock. Let's wait to see how all the other wide receivers perform and see how everybody feels about him after the fact. Do I think the Giants would take him at 11? You don't know, but I would lean probably not. And I'm not going to cry. Like if the Giants feel like he's a great wide receiver prospect, he's 6'2", okay, have at it. But is it what I'm rooting for? No. I would sooner draft another position if the top 3 wide receivers were gone.
This is what I'll say about Bateman. Before he ran a 4.39, which honestly isn't really that fast this day and age. People say we should get him in the second round. This is why I made the video that the 40 is so overrated. It's not the speed. It's so overrated. It's just so overrated. I don't know how these players jump so high because they run fast in a straight line without pads on. Make them pads.
The underwear Olympics has got them.
I don't get it. I don't understand. I really don't. And in the video, I went through about 10 guys that ran extremely fast. And you're going to get to a super chat a little later, and I'm going to, it's right there. There it is. Rashad Bateman, 6'2", top end speed. You know who else was 6'2" and ran way faster than Rashad Bateman? Darius Hayward-Bay. Where the hell is he? What did he do? Nothing. It's not just about size and speed. It's about being an NFL player. I'm so not about the speed. Jerry Rice wasn't a burner. Terrell Owens wasn't a burner. Larry Fitzgerald's not a burner. CeeDee Lamb's not a burner.
Antonio Brown, not a burner.
Antonio Brown, not a burner. There's a lot of guys. Randy Moss, different story. Randy Moss is a freak. But other than that, there's a lot of guys that are really, really good receivers. DeAndre Hopkins, I don't remember him running a 4.3 40.
He could be great.
He definitely could be. I don't remember Michael Thomas running a 4.3 40. My point is, speed's overrated if you can't do the rest of the fundamentals in football. That's my point. You can't get off the line of scrimmage. Who cares how fast you run? If you can't get separation, who cares how fast you run? If you can't run a crisp route, if you can't catch the ball, none of it matters. John Ross ran a 4.22. He sucks.
Yeah.
So that's my hang up with that. That's my hang up with all
you don't want to judge receiving prospects just based off speed, which I think is fair.
Don't. And I don't know. I just don't understand how they jump so high because of their 40. I guess that's my point. There's just so many other things that go into being a good NFL receiver besides them running fast.
Yeah. And Bueno, man, thank you very much. What's up, you Italian stallions? What's going on, Bueno, man? Thanks for popping in the stream, buddy.
Oh, buddy.
The one thing I will say about Bateman, I think the book on him, at least from what I read, is he had everything but the speed. Like people thought he was a good route runner. People thought he had good hands. And then they saw the speed. And I think that's why people got excited because nobody expected that speed. But what I'll say to that is I don't think that's his real speed. I don't. I think it was fabricated due to the pro day. But yeah. I like Bateman. From what I've read, from what I've seen, yeah, I think he's a really good wide receiver prospect. And I think in a lot of drafts, he may be the best wide receiver prospect. This is not a normal draft. You have elite wide receiver prospects in this draft.
Right.
And I'm not going to cry, but I wouldn't be. Let's put it this way. At 11, I'm not going to want to take Bateman. There's going to be other options, whether it's taking a corner, if the other wide receivers are gone, whether it's taking a guy like Micah Parsons, an offensive lineman like Rashawn Slater. I would rather do that before I take him.
Yeah, Bateman 11, I'm not there. If we trade it back to, say, 21, okay, I could take him later in the draft, just not at 11. Because like you said, at that point, I just feel like there's going to be better players available.
Yeah.
It's maybe not a wide receiver, but like Slater, I think would be a better option. Micah Parsons would be a better option, in my opinion, at 11 over Rashad Bateman. But like I said, maybe Rashad Bateman is great, but maybe it's not. My point is we can't just judge a receiver on speed. That's my whole point about that whole rant that I just went on. Because I just feel like that's become such a thing is, oh, my God, he ran a 4. And it's like you said, pro day induced. Jalen Reagor ran a 4.28 at pro day. And then in the combine, he ran a 4.46 or 4.47, whatever it was. So that's 0.2 of a second. That's a lot. That is a lot.
You can't just go by the pro day. You can't. It's well known that the numbers aren't accurate. Right. Tony Martinez, man, thank you very much. I used to love sports, but then I realized it's propaganda. I am hoping for a better future. Sports is meant to distract us from the truth.
Okay.
Yeah, I understand where you're coming from with that. A lot of people talk about that it mixes too much of the real life things going on in the real world into the sports world, and some people don't. I definitely understand where you're coming from with that, Tony. But thank you very much, man. I appreciate it. Roldy says, instead of you saying the same fans who are upset that Williams was tagged are the same fans who would be complaining why we didn't tag him. That was a continuation, I suppose, of your last super chat. Yeah, maybe I shouldn't say that. Yeah, okay, I worded it wrong. What my point was, Roldy, is there are definitely fans out there that were going to complain regardless of what the decision was. And I know that for a fact. And I think Bad Dog does too. Maybe you're not one of those fans.
About what Gettleman does. Until Gettleman's gone.
Yeah, and I didn't say you, Roldy. I said there's fans. There's the fans that complained that complained about giving them the franchise tag. A lot of those fans, that's the word I should have said, probably more than half, would have complained had they just let him go. And they would have said, how did you trade for a guy and then just let him walk? That's my personal opinion. Maybe I'm wrong. We'll never know. It's hypothetical, but that's my honest opinion. Yeah. And we already got to Ramon. And let's get to Tyler Stack. Thank you very much, man. I appreciate it. Would you rather spend the money on Galladay or on a combination of guys like Tooney, Butler, and Van Noy? And Tyler says Galladay, in my opinion. What's your opinion?
I agree. I'm not a big Van Noy guy. So the whole reason not listen, if Daniel Jones was in his 6th year and we knew what Daniel Jones was, and I didn't have to hear all year last year when I was getting on Daniel Jones' case because he threw 11 touchdowns the entire year, and I had to hear about, he doesn't have any weapons. Well, he doesn't have this. Well, it's this. Well, it's if I didn't have to hear all the excuses, I would be the complete opposite. But at this point, because of Daniel Jones' situation, because in 2022, that's the end of his rookie contract. By the end of 2021, the Giants have got to know 100% we're extending this guy. We're at least giving him the 5th-year option with the intent on signing him long-term. Or we know that he's not the guy, and we're going to start looking for the future quarterback. They've got to set him up in the most optimal situation to succeed. So to me, Van Noy and Butler, although we could, and again, I'm not a big Van Noy guy. Butler's fine.
Well, if you don't like Van Noy, substitute in Reddick.
Hassan Reddick, right. Although I think it would make the defense a lot better, it certainly would help. We still wouldn't know what Daniel Jones would be. Yeah. I want to know what Daniel Jones is going to be. And the defense was good last year. Yeah, it could get better. It'd be nice to have an elite defense again. But this offense was 31st. No matter how good this defense is, we will not win games if we're scoring 16 points a game. It's just not going to happen because the defense is going to have a bad drive. The offensive that turns the ball over inside the 20-yard line, we're going to give up points. Yeah. There's only so much a defense can do. And I saw this in the middle 90s with Danny Cannell, with Dave Brown. I saw it in the 90s. The defense is great. The offense couldn't get out of its own way. We didn't win a lot of games. So that's why I'm Galladay. That's why I'm so pro Galladay. It's not like I want to pay Galladay, $75 million for 4 years. I don't. But I just think they have got to do that not just for themselves, but for Daniel Jones. I feel like they got to do something for Daniel Jones. They drafted him 6th overall. They must believe in him. So let's see what he is.
Yeah, I mean, I've said repetitively that this offseason for me is finding out whether or not Daniel Jones is the quarterback. You got to help him out. You got to get him the pieces. And for me, to answer your question, it would come down to how I evaluate the prospects in the draft. If I feel, and I'm estimating, if I'm the GM, that Jalen Waddle, who is more than likely, or Devontae Smith, one of those two is more than likely going to be there at 11, is better than Kenny Galladay, I'd probably fill in the other holes in free agency. If I feel like I'd rather go with the safer approach and I'm not too sure about those 2 wide receivers, I go and get Galladay. And then I fill in other holes in the draft. So it's tough for me to answer. It depends on how you feel about the wide receiver prospects in this year's draft and how committed you are as a GM. But I understand the philosophy of taking Galladay because you know what you're getting. It's a proven commodity and it gives you freedom in the first round. So I understand both sides of it. I do. DJ Smooth says, I'll double up and cut Slayton, Galladay, and a first wide receiver. Why would you cut Slayton? He's making nothing.
Yeah, I would never cut Slayton. I don't even understand that. Slayton's shown promise.
Yeah.
Slayton isn't making anything. And if you get Galladay, Slayton's going to be better. And even if you don't, as long as Barkley's healthy, Slayton had a bad year. The offense had a bad year. And a lot of that had to do with 3 rookies playing on the offensive line, a brand new coaching staff, and no Saquon Barkley.
Yeah.
Let's give him another year. I would never. Slayton makes nothing. What does Slayton make? He doesn't even make $1 million.
He's a fifth-round pick. He's probably making near the league minimum.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't cut Slayton.
You're not cutting Slayton. No, and maybe you could say you could double up and Slayton will go to the fourth wide receiver if that's what you want to say. But you're not cutting Slayton. That makes no sense whatsoever.
Yeah, Slayton can play.
Yeah,
I'm not cutting it.
And I think people that are down on Slayton, you got to remember, he was getting number one coverage last year. You get a number one wide receiver, he's no longer going to be getting number one coverage.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? You get Galladay or you get, Devontae Smith, the number one coverage is going to go to them. All of a sudden, Slayton's going to be going up against the number two corners. Just look at our team, for instance. If he was going up against the New York Giants, you're either going to go up against Bradbury or Isaac Yiadom.
Right.
So going up against that number two corner is a huge difference in a week in, week out basis.
Because I'll tell you what, I think week 13, I had 7 catches for 90 yards against Yiadom.
Gonna get through a couple of these. I just want to make sure I don't lose out on Duran's. Duran says, shout out to Ewing for winning the Big East tournament with Georgetown. Yeah, they went on a crazy run. I think they were under 500 before the tournament started. And yeah, it was cool to see Patrick Ewing, especially after he got checked by all the security guards at the Garden. He was upset about it, but it was cool to see Patrick Ewing led Georgetown to the tournament. They won the Big East tournament. So yeah, pretty cool.
As I said, Ewing's been disrespected his whole freaking career.
It's ridiculous.
Made no sense. Makes no sense. Ewing is the greatest Nick of all time. Maybe you can argue Clyde Frazier, but other than that, you really can't argue anybody. And the guy was a freaking warrior. The guy was tough as nails. The guy spit blood. The guy was Eli Manning. The guy played hurt all the damn time. The guy gave his best effort. He gave 150% every time he was out there. They didn't win a championship.
And they never provided him. I was going to say they never provided him with a number two. Never complained. Always went out there, gave him
a different point guard every freaking year.
And I'm going to tell you what, I say it all the time. In my lifetime, Patrick Ewing is the most underappreciated athlete in New York sports since I've been watching sports in New York. I honestly believe that. I think he's the most underappreciated athlete for any team I've been watching. Patrick Ewing. He was super underappreciated.
Yep. Still is, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Shaq loves him.
I just think about this all the time, and I don't want to get into a Patrick Ewing conversation because we're going to get back to the Giants. But I think about this a lot of times, and I'll bring it up. If Ewing wins against Hakeem Olajuwon in the finals, which he should have, does he go down as the better center? Because his legacy is looked at completely different if he wins that championship and Olajuwon doesn't.
Yeah. Is he better than Olajuwon?
It's It's debatable at that point if he beats it, but he's much closer. If he gets that ring.
He'd be closer, but no. Olajuwon's the best center I've ever seen.
Yeah. I mean, he's incredible.
Overall.
But if Ewing won that ring, his legacy is much higher thought of than it is now.
Well, he's celebrated at that point. He's not getting thrown out of the Garden.
Yeah, well, that's for damn sure. But I think now a lot of people have him on like their fringe top 30, top 35. If he wins that ring, he's like top 15, top 20. Like it would have been much different on his legacy had he won that ring.
No, there's no doubt.
It's unfortunate. Mighty Mango, man, thank you very much, man. Hello, Chris. Where is Big Bang? He was actually in my stream the other day. That's your son, man. But you guys are both great supporters of my channel. Thank you guys for being members. Thank you guys for always popping in. But he was in my stream the other day. I saw him, I think it was a couple days ago, Mighty Mango. But thank you very much, man, for being here. Tudo says the whole offense relies on the O-line, and the Giants O-line has been non-existent for 4 of the last 8 years. 8 of the last 8 years. There's no point in going on shopping spree for wide receiver 1 without a reliable offensive line. I understand it. I'm going to tell you what, if the offensive line sucks, you're right. It doesn't matter who we bring in here. The offense is not going to flow with a bad offensive line. Right. You're right. You're right. I think what the hope is, first off, you hope this offensive line gels and matures. It just gets better as a unit. And I think they're going to try to bring in some help, but you lost Zeitler. But the hope is if you get a true number 1 and you get Barkley back, it makes the offense less predictable and ultimately becomes easier to block with weapons in the offense. I guess that's the hope, but you're right. I mean, you go back to the offense. I think Giants fans forget about this, Baddog. 2018, the first half of the season. 2018, the second half, we blocked much better, if you remember correctly. Soldier didn't give up a sack the whole second half of 2018. The first half of 2018, we had the most talented running back in football. We had the most talented wide receiver in football, and our offense couldn't do shit. If you can't block, I don't care how much talent you have.
Well, look at the Chiefs.
Yeah, you ain't putting up points. So he's right about that. He's absolutely right about that. And you call it old school again. I go back to it's common sense. Thomas, man, I was on your Facebook channel, man, about a month ago. Says, what's up, guys? Enjoy talking to both of you on Big Blue Avenue. Who should the consensus be at 11 if the top 3 wide receivers are gone? I don't think they go Pitts.
I do.
You think they do? Yeah, I don't. I think Pitts is going to be gone. Now, I understand where he's coming from because I've said that. The fact that they've now extended Toyolo and they've spoke so highly about Evan Ingram, I do understand the mindset of maybe they aren't looking to go at tight end. But
if Kyle Pitts is there at 11, they'd be foolish not to take him.
I don't think he'll be there.
Pick.
Yeah, I don't think he'll be there. But if he is, and the 3 wide receivers are gone, I'd be leaning Pitts myself.
Because then they can trade Evan Ingram.
But what I will say, if they don't go Pitts, if your question is then what would I do? I'm either going, if Slater's there, I'm either going with a guy like Rashawn Slater or the defensive prospect that I'm hoping for there is Parsons. And if not Parsons, maybe Surtain or Farley. Those are the names I'm looking at in that spot. I'm getting my corner. I'm getting my versatile linebacker that fits the scheme very well, or I'm going out there and bulking up this offensive line. I think those are your 3 options if you're not going with a weapon there.
No, I can't argue.
And Tom, man, thank you so much, man. I really appreciate it, man. And keep doing what you do on your Facebook page. And let me see if I got Zahib here. Otherwise, I'll just read it off the phone. And I think I'm going to have to read it off the phone. Zahib, man, thank you so much, man. I really appreciate it, man. He says, wide receiver is definitely a number 1 need, but I really think a solid O-line would benefit the offense more than a number 1 wide receiver. I'm starting to think we draft the right tackle round 1 and a guy like Bateman or whoever in round 2. I don't think we're going to get Bateman in round 2. I think he's definitely going to be a first round. But there'll be somebody. Rondell Moore, somebody. There'll be somebody. There'll be a wide receiver there. So you're saying you'd rather go with the tackle and the wide receiver round 2. I understand the logic. You know I'm an offensive line guy, and I would not bat an eye if they did it. Our offensive line is in shambles after Zeitler left. We have to figure Thomas is going to improve. You have to hope that Parrott improves. You have to hope Hernandez improves, and he comes back and he does the job. I like Nick Gates. Shane Lemie's a big question mark. So, yeah, I understand the logic. Believe me, Zahab. I just said it. I mean, if past history didn't teach us anything, I just told you, Baddog. We had the best running back and the best wide receiver in football. We couldn't score because we couldn't block. Mm-hmm. People blamed it on Eli, but we couldn't block.
No, so, Eli was going down on the ground 15 times a game. So
yeah. So Cruzon, man, thank you very much. I agree, but Bateman is known for his skills. Yeah, that's kind of what I was getting at, Cruzon. That's why I think people jumped so high on him because he wasn't thought as a speed guy. He was just thought of everything else but the speed. And then people saw the speed and they got super excited. But I do think I'm not reading into that speed, Baddog. Like we said, I'm not buying it. I'm not buying into that speed. Yeah. Nick, man, thank you very much, man. Giants may have a captain curse. Solder was bad after getting a captain. DJ got a captain and regressed. Saquon got a captain and has been injured since. And Dalvin may walk. Just something to think about. So what do you think, Baddog? We should just get rid of the captains altogether?
Get rid of what? The captain?
Yeah.
No, I don't think they should get rid of the captains, but it's kind of funny that worked out that way.
Now, let me ask you
– coincidence.
Let me ask you, and we don't know the whole team yet, but if you had to guess right now, let's assume we lose Tomlinson, and he might be back. We don't know, but let's say we lose Tomlinson. Who do you think the captains are going to be on this year's team?
The captains? Leonard Williams. I think he'd be a captain. Jabril Peppers.
Martinez, right? He was a captain last year.
Yeah, Javi Martinez. Bradbury. I mean, I don't know. They got a million captains nowadays.
But another guy, what about Logan Ryan? I mean, that's a guy that's known as a leader, you know? So, there's a lot of guys that could be a captain on this defense. On the offense, I think obviously Barkley and Jones. And maybe you give it to Nate Solder. Yeah, Solder, because he was a previous captain. Yeah. Raphael, man, thank you. Shepard. People bring up Shepard every year, and he never gets it. I'd like to see him get it. I like Shepard. Raphael, thank you very much, man. After the Giants win the Super Bowl, you should dye your hair blue at the time. I've already said it. If the Giants win the Super Bowl, I will dye my hair blue for 2 weeks. You have my word.
You have my word. Hair, so you ain't got to worry about it. Maybe I'll grow my beard for 2 weeks. Try that.
Darian says, saw the N'Keal Harry rumor. He could end up like Aguilar. Maybe the change could be good for both parties. Low risk, high reward. Yeah, we talked about that earlier, Darian. And a lot of Giants fans poo-pooed it when I talked about it on Twitter and when I talked about it in my YouTube video, but because everybody just wants Golladay. That's all they're thinking about. And I understand it. But N'Keal Harry is a guy with upside, a guy that could come in, a guy that could, at a bare minimum, provide as a depth wide receiver with upside. And he's tall. He's got ties to Judge. And he costs you nothing. He's making $3 million over the next 2 years. So, yeah, I think it's low risk, high reward. It's what you want. So
trade Ingram and save some money. Give him that. I'm all for that move.
That'd be good. And by the way, I just want to shout out again. We still over 600 people in here, Bad Dog. Just want to say thank you to everybody that always supports the show. You guys are incredible. Can't wait for free agency to get underway. We're going to go over to Bad Dog's channel next week. We're going to recap it. Going over there, sub him up. If my mods can put his link in the chat, but you know it. We work together every week. So if you're a subscriber of mine, you know Bad Dog. But just in case you don't, Bad Dog Sports, they'll put it in the link below. Thank you guys for being here. Derek says, if we cut Slayton, I'm done being a Giants fan. We're not cutting Slayton. Would be a worse move than drafting DeAndre. We're not cutting Derek. Derek, I'll go a step further. If the New York Giants this year cut Darius Slayton before the year starts, I will get rid of my YouTube channel. That's how sure I am that we will not cut Darius Slayton. I guarantee it. It would be the dumbest move in the history of football. The guy makes nothing. He makes $700,000. Yeah, we're not cutting Darius Slayton. I promise.
Yeah, he had a huge rookie season. It doesn't make any. Yeah, no way.
It's not happening. It's not happening.
No, it's definitely not happening.
And LeVar, man, thank you so much, man, for the $1 donation, man. I really appreciate it. And Justin, man, let me just get to that real quick. Justin says, "No way, man, Linsanity, greatest Nick of all time, son." Listen, I love Linsanity. It's probably the most fun we've had as Nick fans since, well, the Carmelo's team was good in 2012. But the Linsanity was really fun. It was great. But
for 2 weeks.
It was, yeah, exactly. It was fun. It was like a quick high, but it was like you said, it was like a month.
His rookie card went from $9 to $2,000 and went right back down to $9. It was pretty awesome. I remember that very well.
And then he turned into a 6-man and not too successful of an NBA career. But he was fun. He was super fun. It was a great story. People bought into it. People loved it. But yeah, no, Patrick Ewing's the best. AP, thank you very much, man. He says, you all know how LT played better when he was on crack. Oh, we're going to start to get into. Well, let's hope Rob Sale could give our line some of that magic LT level crack and our coach well.
Hey, whatever gets the job done. If Crack is going to get these guys playing like Lawrence Taylor, let's start dishing it out. Let's do it right now. I don't know. That's not 420. I don't know. Maybe that's 840, but whatever the hell it is.
Yeah, a Crack, you double it. It's got to be at least.
It's got to be 840. You give him, give him some white pony. Let's go. For those of you who don't know what that is, that's the yam yam. That's what that is. That's an 80s term. White pony.
There you go.
Yeah.
Bryce Curley, thank you so much. Says, what's up, cuties? All right, Bryce, I hope you're a female, but probably not.
I don't think so.
But thank you very much. And Taco says, Giants free agency prediction. I believe we get Galladay.
Hope so.
All right, real quick. Give me your free agency prediction. You don't even got to necessarily give me names. What do you think the Giants ultimately end up with in terms of positions?
I think they end up with. I'm not saying it's going to be Galladay, but I do think they end up with a wide receiver, and I think they end up with a guard. That's really what and maybe a corner. Wide receiver, one way or the other, without a doubt. I don't know what it might be. Samuel, obviously, get him and drafted him. That's definitely a possibility. I really don't want Corey Davis, but maybe they trade for N'Keal Harry. You don't know. I definitely wide receiver. Might not be Galladay, and then a corner or a guard. They're not going to be able to afford both, but I think you're going to see that happen.
Yeah, I think those. I don't think we get Galladay. I think we will sign some kind of wide receiver. I don't know if it's going to be somebody super cheap, like a trade like N'Keal Harry, or somebody off the bargain bin because there's going to be a lot of available players, or if it's going to be a mid-tier wide receiver like a Curtis Samuel or Corey Davis. That I'm not sure of, but I do think we sign some kind of wide receiver, whether it's depth or whether it's a high-impact player. I think I'm definitely leaning that we're going to take a corner. I think there's going to be value there. I think we'll be able to get a veteran cornerback too. And yeah, I think we're going to get an interior offensive lineman to replace Zeitler. Those are the three areas I'm looking at. I'm hoping we get Gallman back with the oversaturation at the running back position. You look at some of the good names and teams don't have money to spend. Maybe we get Gallman back for $1.5 million, something like that. I'd love to have that. So I think that's more of a possibility than I thought a couple of months ago. But yeah, outside of that, I think maybe, small moves, maybe a cheap backup quarterback if it's not McCoy, tie up some loose ends, but I don't think anything extravagant. I don't think we're going to get Galladay.
We'll see.
Yeah. JC, man, thank you very much. I appreciate it. He says, Chiefs got the O-line. No excuses for Pat. Better put up great numbers and win big games. Young quarterbacks don't get passes for that. Don't care if it's the last ranked O-line. Pat's going to find out what it's like to be Eli Manning. But if I remember correctly, I think the Chiefs drafted an offensive lineman last year. I could be wrong. This year, they're definitely taking a tackle. They have to. They cut both of them.
Yeah.
But we'll see. I mean, he might not get a pass, but it's a legitimate excuse. If you can't block, I don't care how good the quarterback is, Baddog. And we say it all the time. We saw with Eli. He fell off the map. He was one of the top 5 quarterbacks in football, and then the offensive line went to hell, and so did he. So it may not be an excuse that you feel is warranted, but if you can't block, I mean, it's hard to be a good quarterback.
It is. Unless you're Deshaun Watson, you don't really matter.
Yeah, but he didn't. But even he didn't win games.
He didn't win, but he was damn good.
He was good, yeah.
Russell Wilson, too, damn good. Aaron Rodgers, damn good. Some of those guys are really good.
Rodgers does have a really good line.
Listen, I think Mahomes will be fine.
Yeah.
Not fine, but I think Mahomes will still put up his numbers.
Oh, yeah.
You know, they're not going to be as consistent, and you could get hurt. And Rodgers dealt with some injuries, and the Packers have won 1 Super Bowl since he's been there. So, see.
That's what happens when your quarterback gets paid.
Yep. Can't put the money there anymore.
Yeah.
Dallas going to find that out too. Once that, well, not really. Their line's locked up for a while, but
they're getting older though, and they lost their center. They're getting older. They're going to have to start to regroup that offense.
I mean, they'll start drafting. I think.
Yeah.
They may go Slater. Who knows?
They could. I think I had them. My official mock, I don't remember if I had them take it Slater.
Yeah, there's 10. I mean, they could use both of those guys.
They're going one or the other. I think they go offensive line or they go corner. I can't.
They don't need. There's talking about Pitts going. They don't need Kyle Pitts. They don't need a wide receiver. They have enough skill positions. They need trench stuff and defense.
I know you're super high on Pitts. If they took Pitts, that would be the dumbest pick of the draft.
I hope they do take him.
That's the last thing they need.
I know. That's why I hope they take him. I hope they take him or the Philadelphia Eagles take him. Like all those Eagles fans clamoring for a wide receiver or Kyle Pitts. I really hope they do. I really hope that they take. I would rather them take Pitts than us. Yeah. It does not benefit them one bit.
Yeah, they don't need him.
If we can take another position, it'll benefit us.
Yeah.
That would really do nothing for them.
Yeah. Tudo, man, thank you very much. The Knicks are hot and rolling all over NBA teams. Let's have some ice cold Peronis with Dana and Baddog, fellas. Forget about it. Tudo, man, appreciate all the love you always show both of us. You're a great supporter.
Grazie. As always, Paisano. Grazie.
He's a great supporter of all things New York Giants on YouTube. So thank you, Tudo, man. And, we'll see. I'm excited for Monday. Knicks versus Nets. It'll be a fun game. I'm not super confident. The Nets are playing really good, but it's going to be fun. Hopefully we can go out and kick some ass, but we'll see, man.
Freaking Nets. I don't want to hear about the damn Nets.
You hate the Nets, and so do I. I'm a Knicks fan. I hate the Nets.
It's just funny. I mean, I'm a Knicks fan, but even in the Lakers, I started the Lakers stream last night. A bunch of Nets fans in there. I'm like, what the hell you did? This is the Lakers. What the hell are what are all the Nets fans in here for? Don't worry about getting out of the East. Worry about the Lakers in the finals if you make it that far.
Yeah.
I keep telling the Knicks will beat their ass in the playoffs anyway. So
yeah. NY Giants 26 is what time you got? We usually go to about 12:10. We usually go about 10 minutes past midnight. So we'll be about another 20 minutes. NY Giants 26. Thank you for being here, buddy. And we'll get to the chat. We'll answer a couple of you guys' questions. Let's see. I try to pick out some good ones. Let's see. Is Wilson going to be a Bear? Oh God, this is my favorite Baddog. Is the Russell Wilson? The we got nothing to talk about. So not talking about Mo. I'm talking about the writers. Let's draw up some stories.
Why would he?
Russell Wilson's going. Russell Wilson's going nowhere. He's staying with Seattle. I promise you.
Watson's going nowhere.
Watson's more probable than Wilson because Watson's definitively come out and said he doesn't want to play there. Wilson wants to. Well, I think Wilson's just using his power to try to make Seattle do what he wants them to do, which is improve the offense.
Talking about Wilson coming here in 2018. Remember that?
Yeah, it ain't happening. He ain't going to be a Bear. He's going to be a Seattle Seahawk. Wilson ain't going nowhere. Why did you and Baddog becomes Giants fan the story? Oh, we've said this many times, but we met on YouTube, Squimser. We met once in person. We're going to meet again. Hopefully this year we'll go to a Giant game again. But I had just started YouTube about, 4 months ago. And, I was starting to grow a little bit. And my subscribers told me to check out Baddog. They said you should start working with other Giants content creators. And I went into one of his streams and I asked him if he wanted to do a show. And yeah, the first week he couldn't do it, whatever it may be. Came back, did it on my channel, and like Baddog always says, we had like 15 viewers. Actually, the first one wasn't live. The first one was pre-recorded.
Yep.
And then the second one we had like 15. Not even.
I think like 9.
Yeah, like 9 viewers, and then we just kept doing it every week. We kept building together, we kept helping each other grow, and now we've got over 600 people in here when we do the show. So yeah,
I remember when we started the show, the Giants won like 3 straight.
Yeah, and
like they didn't lose for a while when we started it.
Yeah,
it was 2018. It was the middle of 2018. They started off 1-7, and I think after that we might have started on the bye. I don't remember. But like I said, I always love to go back. That was like a half an hour, and it's just funny looking at the different setups and everything else, and just looking about what we were talking about back then about Justin Herbert. I remember talking about that and Teddy Bridgewater. And yeah, it's funny to see where it started. It's always, you never forget where you came from. So I say, that's why I say it at the end of every show, man. The fact that this has grown the way it has, and the Giants have still not been a good team. And like Chris says, we have almost 700 people in here, and I know that we've been able to tag some guys, and now we know some free agency, but this is still pretty dead as far as, the NFL goes, and we have this big of a crowd. So hopefully this year, in the middle of the year, we're getting 1,000 people in these things, and hopefully the Giants are really good. And, they weren't really good last year, but we were competitive with the division, and that made it a lot of fun too.
Yeah, and I think we're going to be better. I think we're going to have a fun year this year. Justin, man, thank you very much. Do you know the numbers for the restructured contract for Solder? I do not.
I don't think they're out yet.
Yeah, that's why I didn't make a video yet. I knew I was going to go live anyway with Baddog, and we talk about it tonight. But yeah, I just wanted to wait till the numbers come out so that way you could break down the contract. But I had a couple people on Twitter. Who knows if they got any credibility? One guy told me it's going to be basically a 2-year salary, and it's only going to be $5 million against the cap from somebody that he heard. But who knows? But to my knowledge, nothing's come out yet. When it does, you'll know. I'm sure we'll both make a video on it. We'll talk about how it influences this year's free agency period. But yeah, as of now, Justin, nothing's come out yet. Not to our knowledge, anyway.
Yeah.
Manuel, man, thank you very much. He says, changing topics. I want to see more man coverage on D and pre-snap motion and 2 tight end sets on O. Also, more Eli Penny blocking for Saquon running the ball. Well, let's start with that, Bad Dog. We talk about that all the time. We want the lead blocker. We want the I formation. We want the offset I. Thought we were going to get a lot more of it last year. We didn't. So, yeah, we did see Caden Smith a bit in the H-back role, but not as much as we would have liked. So I agree with you on that. As far as the more man coverage manual, I would love it. But unless we get unless we get a significant, and we might sign a corner. Unless we get a significant upgrade on that cornerback 2 spot, I don't think you're going to be able to run man as much as you'd like. And that's why I've been a big corner guy since like week 12 of last year. I saw this defense. I saw the limitations. I see what they want to do. But if you want to be super aggressive and you want to be able to play man more consistently, you have to be able to trust your corners on an island. And I think we need an upgrade at that cornerback 2 spot to do that, which it's why I've been so outspoken as to why I think they need to improve that. So I'm with you. I want to see that, but I think we need an improvement in the personnel to be able to do it.
I hate the zone. I complain about that every damn week. So yeah, we do need to upgrade. You can't play man coverage with Isaac Yiadom as your second corner. So I definitely think the Giants will address that one way or the other. But yeah, I think man coverage, press coverage is the way to go. But you do need really good corners to do that. Bradbury can obviously play that, but we're going to need an upgraded cornerback too. We've been saying that pretty much since, like Chris said, the middle of last season. DeAndre Baker, what happened to him? Obviously that hurt. And then Sam Beal, although he never really proved to be anything, he also held out. So we kind of were left. They didn't expect that to happen. I mean, they were going in. They traded with Bradbury going in, thinking it's going to be DeAndre Baker and James Bradbury at the corners. And, Baker played a lot better press coverage than he did zone. He was confused in the zone, and he played a lot better when he played press. So if it was Bradbury and DeAndre Baker, and Baker played the whole season and he got better, then you definitely could have played press coverage. But it'll depend on what they do with the cornerback too. You just can't play that with a crappy corner. You'll get burned every time.
You think about that, because I thought DeAndre Baker was going to have a breakout year last year because I thought he fit the scheme so well. Like you said, he was known as a man press guy. It's what we needed. And you think about that. If that never went down, and if McKinney stayed healthy, and Lorenzo Carter, who I thought fit the scheme beautifully, and he looked great the first 2 or 3 weeks in it, stayed healthy with McKinney, as good as this defense was, imagine how good it could have been.
I know. No.
I mean, it could have been scary with those guys in the lineup because DeAndre
I'm
Baker.
excited to see how McKinney does this year. McKinney came out; he made an impact pretty quick.
Yeah.
So I'm excited to see a lot. I think you'll see a lot of 3 safety sets with the Giants. So I definitely think you're going to see Jabril Peppers play a little bit more money backer this year. So we'll see. Get him closer to the line. I think that's what the Giants want. That they talked about versatility, and I think with those 3 safeties, you're going to have a lot. Hopefully, they stay healthy.
Sam, man, thank you so much. It's just too quiet on the Leonard Williams front. A bit worried on the tag. Yeah, I understand. I'd be surprised, Sam. It doesn't mean he's going to be back. They could end up trading him if they can't figure out an agreement, maybe. I'm not ruling it out. I don't think it's going to happen. I think they'll get an extension. And I'm leaning that it may not happen before free agency, but I think they'll get an extension done before the start of the year. I'd be surprised if they don't. And the Giants' mentality could be, we don't know this, that they're going to wait it out in free agency anyway for the reasons that I've talked about. That it's going to be a flooded market, that they feel the longer they wait, the better deals they're going to get. They know they don't have a lot of cap space to begin with. And the Giants may be like, we're in no rush. We know that we can get this done. We're going to continue to negotiate, and we're going to get this deal done at the proper time. And at that time, that's when we'll pick up the loose ends that get by in free agency for better deals. That could be the approach. We don't know. But in the end, I do think they'll extend Williams. I think he'll be here with the Giants, and I think they'll get a contract extension.
Like I said, they tagged him, or like Chris said, they tagged him as a placeholder. If they didn't tag him, they were not going to be able to sign him. At least this way, like I said, they can decide the fate of Leonard Williams, whether they want to extend him, whether they want him to play under the franchise tag this year, or if they want to trade him. But if they didn't tag him, they had no leverage on Leonard Williams. He was gone. Because like Chris said, somebody was going to give that guy 5 years, $105 million, $65 million guarantee. We couldn't do that. We could have never afforded that. So he would have walked, and that would have been it. And then, like Chris said earlier as well, people would have been on Gettleman's people. Some people are going to be on Gettleman for signing him, but if he would have walked, it was like, what the hell did he trade him for? Why did we trade draft picks for this guy? He didn't even try to sign him.
Yep.
So that's really all that. That's really all that is. And like Chris, I think they're good. Gettleman traded for him for a reason. I don't think Gettleman wants him to walk out the door. So I also think they'll get something done. And I bet you it's probably about $19 million a year. But like Chris has said, and it's always a great point, I'm not worried about the money. It's the years. I don't want to give Leonard 5 years at $95 million. If you can give him 4 at $76 million, or 3 at $60 million, that'd be perfect. You give him 3 at $63 million. Give him $21 million a year for 3 years.
That's great.
I think that's even better.
Yeah, I'm with you.
So maybe he would do that. Maybe Leonard would say, "Hey, I'll play 3 years, $63 million, because then I can get another contract at 29 years old." He's not too old to get another good contract at 29. He's starting to fall off a little bit, but he's not going to get as good of a contract at 31 as he would at 29. So maybe he could double up. 3 years, $63 million would be perfect if they could do that.
3 years, $63 million is better than 5 years, $90.
Right.
Even though 5 years, $90 is only $18 million a year as opposed to 21. In the NFL, you could get out after 2, first off, in a 3-year contract. So it's only a 2-year commitment as opposed to a 4 with a 5-year contract. But the thing I'll say is, and why I don't think, and I hope and I pray that we get a 3-year deal done, because I think that's ideal. The reason I don't think it'll get done is because I think from his agent's perspective, and if I'm Leonard Williams' agent, I say to him, listen, Leo, you got him by the balls. You got 19.5 guaranteed this year. Why sign a 3-year extension when it's really a 2-year commitment? Because they could cut you after 2 years. Play it on the 1 year, get your fully guaranteed $20 million, and let's hit the market again. It's why I don't think in my heart, when I thought about it, in my head, we're not going to be able to extend him unless it's at least a 4-year commitment.
The only thing I'd say is if he has a down year this year, then he's not going to get the same contract.
That's the risk.
If he gets 3.5 sacks this year and then he loses, and it's like, well, now you're going to get $17 million a year.
Yeah.
So it does add up. And again, if he goes out after 2, he'd be 28 years old, and he could still get another big contract. So again, we'll see. The only thing I would say with this year, you might have to backload it to the last 2 years because you'd still have to free up cap space, because $21 million is more than $19 million. So they might actually have to push it back a little bit. But again, I think 3 years would be that'd be optimal. I don't see it happening. I think they could get a 4-year deal done, but we'll wait and see what happens. We're gonna find out soon. 4 years 76, even 4 years 80 at this point. I'm not gonna cry about it. Yeah.
I think that's where we're headed, but we'll see. Taco, man, thank you very much, man. Around $4 million from Dan Duggan. I'm assuming that means the Nate Solder. We'll see if that's true. I have not seen that from Dan Duggan, but I've been live now for 2 hours, so I'll check Twitter after the fact. And if that's true, that would be huge. If he only went $4 million against the cap this year.
Oh, Nate Solder, that would be enormous.
Yeah, I don't know if that's accurate or not, but I will take a look after. Dan Duggan is very credible. If that's where you got it from. But thank you very much, Taco, man. I appreciate it. And Rob, man, thank you very much. Who are the late round diamonds in the draft? I mean, I got a couple. Yeah, I have not done enough research. I got a couple of names people have given me at the wide receiver position. I have not done enough research. I'll be the first to tell you that. I don't dive deep into the draft until after free agency. That's when I'll do my 7-round mock draft. That's when I'll do more research. And I'll give you the guys that I'm looking at. And once you get past round 4, it's throwing darts at the board anyway. But the one thing I'll tell you, Rob, that guys that I think we would lean towards getting, if you go based off of last year, obviously it's going to be smart guys with high IQs, guys that are leaders, maybe captains on their teams, but that's too hard to find out. But what you want to look for, in my opinion, is guys that have connections to this coaching staff. Guys that may have played at Tennessee. We have coaches from the Tennessee coaching staff at college. Guys that may have played at Georgia. We have coaches from there. Guys that may have played at Penn State. Guys that played at Alabama. Those are prospects I'd be looking at that are potential late-round draft prospects.
And a lot of Georgia's got some good defenders. Georgia's got a good defense. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. But, yeah, again, I don't really dive into it until after free agency. And, of course, this year it's not going to be the same as last year. Last year, I could devote a lot more time to the draft and everything else as far as research and doing mock drafts because I was working from home. That's a lot easier when you can get up an hour and a half later and just have to get up, don't have to shower, and turn the computer on and go to work, as opposed to getting up, getting my son ready, making his lunch, taking a shower, getting ready for work, all that other stuff, and then being there for 9 hours. Not like I just come down here and click a video like I could if I was working from home. So it's a much different situation for me this year than it was last year. So, you know,
well, the other thing
I'm doing mock drafts, but I probably won't be able to do the research that I did last year because, again, it just doesn't allow it.
The other thing I'll say, though, in a normal offseason at this point, you get much more of a look at the later round prospects with the combine.
Correct.
We didn't have that this year. So you start to get, excerpts on potential prospects that the Giants may be interested in that are 4th, 5th round targets. We don't have that this year. I think that will start to leak after free agency, though. Who, certain guys that the Giants are interested in, what pro days they're going to, what guys they interview, things like that. But there hasn't been a lot on that. And I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that there hasn't been a combine this year. Yep. Donald, man, thank you very much, man. Jets get a 4th instead of a 5th if we sign Leo before March 17th. We got to wait. That I didn't know, Donald. Great call there. That I'll be the first to tell you I did not know that. So we'd be stupid to sign him before March 17th then.
Depends, though, because you'd have more cap flexibility.
But what I'll say is, if say we want Kenny Golladay, it doesn't mean we can't talk to Kenny Golladay and say, listen, Kenny, we're signing you March 18th, but we got to wait till after March 17th to reconstruct Leonard's salary to make it work. So you could still have an agreement in principle. He could sign somewhere else, but yeah, I don't think that prevents us from potentially getting Golladay if he really wants to come here.
Right.
But
I'll be honest. I will be surprised if the Giants get a deal done with Leonard Williams in the next 2 days.
I'd probably agree. That's a guy that's looking for every penny.
I keep talking about taking March 17th off. I guarantee I'm going to work. I never take freaking days off, man. You say they're going to take a personal day, but I won't because I know at the beginning of April I'm off for 18 days.
And I'm going to be honest with you, it's probably not worth it. I don't think the
Giants. I'm going to tell you this too. I'm probably taking the day off after the draft, the Thursday night of the draft. I'm probably taking April 28th. That's probably going to happen because we'll be doing it all weekend, and I do plan on drinking a little bit that night, like I did last year, because it's fun. We live for 4.5, 5 hours doing the draft, laughing at the stupid Eagles, and I got a good buzz last year, so let's do it again.
I can't wait. Taco says sign Golladay, not a lot of money off the cap this year. We got to, in my opinion, you got to be able to extend Leo before you can sign Golladay because Leo right now is eating up all our cap space with the 19.5. Yeah. So let's see what happens. Let's see if we can extend Leo to make it possible. Heartstorm says, thank you very much. Says, you guys are burning the midnight oil. Yeah, we're going to go for another 5 minutes. He says, wee, that's Bad Dog's. Wee! Yeah, there you go. And Mountain Basser, that's a big fish he's got there. What is that? What is that, a bass? That's a big freaking fish, man.
I don't know. I can't see.
Makes me want to go fishing.
I think that is a big mouth bass.
He says,
I don't know anything about what the hell do I know about fishing? I'm a city guy. No, it's just like I go golfing. The reason I go fishing, the same reason I go golfing, that's a drink.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No, I love drinking when I fish. Sometimes I get seasick though. He says Parsons is the pick at 11. Barkley versus Parsons. Steel sharpens steel. Sign a wide receiver in free agency so this can happen. I'd love Parsons if we could get him. I'd love him. The only thing you worry about is the backstory. That's come out, and the Giants could be scared off by that. And you know as well as I do. And again, I talked about this with LPG when he was on my channel. DeAndre Baker, the Gettleman caught all the slack for that after the fact. People said, oh, he had red flags. He had this, he had that. Is Gettleman going to rush to the table after the fan base did that? When, is he going to rush to the table and take Parsons knowing full well if Parsons has a bad rookie year or a bad start to the season, people are going to be like, how did you take him with all the red flags? So that may play a factor based off of DeAndre Baker.
He played Tunsil that year.
Yeah.
And that had nothing to do with Gettleman.
Yeah. Yeah. So, L.A. Lou, man, thank you very much. L.A. Lou's the man. He says, spitballing. Fleming could be the next cut. Well, Fleming's not on the roster. He's a free agent.
No, they never signed him back. He was only brought in here for depth last year. He was not supposed to start at right tackle.
No, he was not. It was supposed to be Solder. Yeah. Fleming could be the next cut. He's just not going to be back. Thomas at left tackle, Solder at right tackle. It could be Parrott, could be Solder. Gates at center, Parrott at guard, he says. At center, Gates at center, and Parrott, Lemieux, and Hernandez handle the guard positions. Parrott's big for a guard. I mean, it's possible, but I doubt it. I think Solder's going to be the swing tackle ultimately. Maybe not to start the year if they don't feel Parrott's ready, but I think at some point Parrott's definitely going to take over as that starting right tackle. The whole reason they're bringing Solder back, and we didn't really get a big chance to talk about this tonight because we were answering so many questions, but the whole reason they're bringing Solder back is for financial reasons, and it's just common sense. And I know some Giants fans
say, I think it's leadership.
Well, leadership, but listen to this. Some Giants fans are going to scream no matter what because they just hear the name Solder and they just think it's a disaster and they want him cut. And I understand it. He's been horrible. But
he's been dealing with some personal issues too.
He did.
As a guy that has a young son, at the end of the day, listen, we can get on these guys' case. We can criticize. And that's what we do. These guys make millions and millions of dollars. They're famous. They're on TV. They have a better life than any of us could ever dream of. Okay, I'm never going to make $20 million, whatever the hell Solder's making. I'm never going to make $18 million a year in my life. It'll never happen. I'll never make $18 million in my lifetime. Okay, but at the end of the day, these guys are human. They do have lives. They do have families. And man, if you have if any of your children are going through something like that, your mind ain't going to be there. And something like football, when your mind's on 100%, you're not focused, man, you're going to get wrecked. It is what it is. So hopefully all this is behind Solder and he can focus on football. And I just feel like he'd be a lot better. And if they don't need to make him the guy, and he can just be there for depth or he can be there for leadership and just do what he has to do, almost be like an on-the-field coach, it'll be worth it. So hopefully he gets better. But I'm not trying to make excuses for Solder. Solder's been bad. But like I said, you have anybody.
He's a human being. He's a human being.
It's going to screw at your head. It's going to. So, like I said, hopefully that's all behind him now. He can focus on football. He can help these kids on the offensive line get better.
Yeah, but the other thing I'll say is from a financial standpoint, if we cut him, and the people that want to be able to sign free agents now, you'd have to cut them before June 1st. So I don't want to hear about the June 1st. Yeah, the June 1st, you save 10 instead of 6, but by then, you're not getting the big free agents. Maybe you get depth guys, but that money's going towards the draft. So if you cut him now, it's going to cost you $10.5 million to cut him. Yeah. So he's getting that no matter what. So if you get him down to that $10.5 million, you're paying him the same this year that you would have paid him to cut him. And in a way, what I've said is you're saving yourself money because if you let him go, you got to pay him the 10.5, and then you got to pay for a swing tackle to replace him.
Yep. So you're paying double.
You're paying double. You're going to pay $5.
Which just answer Roldy's question. He said, "Baddog, we understand we've got kids, but why bring him back when he's facing a tough time?" Chris just answered that. Financial.
You're saving money on your cap. If you're able to get him back for the $10 million that you're going to have to pay to cut him, you now don't have to sign a swing tackle. This guy could be on the bench if he's not ready to play. He could be a swing tackle. He could be a mentor, and you don't have to spend an extra $5 or $6 million on a guy like Cam Fleming.
Right.
And you could put that towards something else.
Yep.
So that's why, in my opinion, a restructure makes perfect sense. Especially if they don't plan on making him the starter.
D. Grant said, I get robbed the Metropolitan Bank and I'll get 20 million. Yeah, but I'll also get life. We'll be able to do anything with that money.
And Lloyd brings up a great point, the New England connection. Judge, him have a New England connection. Maybe he feels like better coaching, you get more out of him. We'll see.
Well, yeah, he's definitely a better coach than Shermer. There's no doubt about that.
Yeah.
And again, well, it has to do with our offensive line coach. But, yeah, I agree. I think Solder will be a lot better this year. I really do. Yeah. I think Solder will be better this year.
And AP says, Billy, Chris the Baddog, stand up. AP, man, thank you so much, man. Appreciate it. And we're going to get to one more, and then we're going to close this show out.
LA Sports. And by the way, I just want LA Sports. I see it here. I have no idea what the hell is going on with YouTube. I unblock him. YouTube blocks him. I unblock him. I hit refresh. He's blocked again. I don't understand what's going on with that LA Sports. I really don't. I don't know why the hell YouTube keeps blocking you from my channel. Makes no sense.
You sure it's not a mod doing it?
No, because I unblock him. I go to his channel. I hit unblock, and immediately he's blocked again. It doesn't stick.
You know what you got to do? I've had this problem before too. When I've had rogue mods block everybody, use a different browser.
Okay.
I use I forgot which one I use, but I normally use Google Chrome. I think I had to use Safari or Mozilla Firefox when I use the other blocker. I
was using the YouTube app, so maybe that's why.
Yeah, you have to use a different browser, and that it should work.
Okay.
Independent Outsider, man, thank you so much. He says tag and trade Leo. Ooh, Independent Outsider. It's definitely, if we can't extend them, I think that is what will happen. Like we said at the top of the show, I don't think he's going to play on the franchise tag. But guys, before I turn it over to Bad Dog, I want to say thank you to everybody for all the support that you guys always show, both of us on the show, and me watching all my videos, obviously watching all Bad Dog's videos, tuning in on all the live streams, whether it's a Q&A, whether it's the Knicks, whether it's this. I can't say thank you enough for everything you mean to this channel, all the growth that you've meant to it. Really looking forward to free agency. We're going to start to hear word, not just for the Giants, everywhere. We're going to start to find out where these players are going, how it's going to affect the division. And I'm excited for it. And then that's really going to set us up for the draft. And then the offseason is really going to take off. We'll be talking draft extensively after the fact. But thank you guys so much for everything you do for the channel. Can't wait to see how the New York Giants build this football team. And we're going to find out in a couple of days. You guys have a great rest of your night. Bad Dog, do what you do.
First of all, happy birthday to KP. I know I pick on you, buddy, but happy birthday.
Good point. Happy birthday.
He's always supporting it. He's always in every stream. Sometimes he's a stalker, but it is what it is. That just shows complete devotion. KP, happy birthday, buddy. But yeah, like Chris said, like we talked about earlier, just the fact this channel, this show has come this far is awesome. Appreciate the hell out of you guys and girls, and this is going to get fun. We're going to start talking about the draft. We're going to get closer to the draft. You're going to start seeing more mocks from these guys, and you're going to get a better picture of what the New York Giants are going to be doing. And it becomes a lot of fun. And hopefully this year the Giants are better, and hopefully we are competing for a division title, and we have a lot of fun in it. Every week I say it, we're not always going to agree on who the players should come in here, and we shouldn't always agree on things. So you reach a big enough audience, there's no way everybody's going to agree with you. There's no way everybody's going to go, that's great. Yes, you're absolutely right. Not everybody's going to do that. Some people are going to say, you're a damn clown. You're an idiot. You don't know what you're talking about. It comes into the territory. But all I ever say is at the end of the day, all we want as Giants fans is for this team to get the hell out of the rut it's been in for the last God knows how long years. And we want to beat the hell out of the teams in the division. And it's going to start happening. And you guys and girls will be there to witness it. It's going to be freaking awesome. I appreciate all your support. Can never say it enough. You guys and girls are the best supporters on YouTube, hands down. And our channels are nothing without you guys and girls. Without you guys and girls, this show doesn't exist. I don't exist. Chris doesn't exist, or we exist.
We exist.
It's like if a tree falls in the woods and no one's there to hear it, doesn't make a sound. And I always say it's the dumbest thing ever because, yes, it obviously makes a damn sound.
You're making me feel like we're in the Matrix, Bad Dog.
Are we? But again, we love you guys and girls. So enjoy the rest of your weekend, and hopefully we see you in the streams and we see you on the videos, and we'll see you next week for Talking Giants. So for the Entertainment Talk Sports, Bad Diggity Dizzle. We go. Peace.